30, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Community and Economic Development Committee to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lloyd?
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey?
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger?
Here.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Avery?
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker? Commissioner Kuznow?
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill?
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling?
Present.
We have a quorum. All right, can we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 3rd?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there any public comment to the committee? Hello. Can you please state your name and your city of residence?
Good evening. My name is John Tosto. I live in the city of Flint. I'm a longtime member of, resident of Genesee County. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself, to put a face to a name. I filed an application for one of the vacancies for the Airport Authority. I am very active in Genesee County. I support many institutions, including the Flint Institute of Arts. I serve on the board of directors for the Genesee County Historical Society, and I'm a member of the Greater Flint Pilots Association. Serving on the authority has always been an ambition of mine. I think I would be a good fit. I'm a licensed attorney, as I indicated. I have a solo practice here in downtown Flint at the Mott Foundation building. I worked in municipal law for some time as an assistant city attorney for the city of Flint. I've represented municipalities in litigation. I was a FOIA coordinator for Flint during my years as an assistant city attorney. I'm an aviation enthusiast. I'm a licensed pilot. I've been a licensed pilot for about 10 years. I hangar an aircraft at Bishop Airport that I co-own in the general aviation hangars right off of Torrey Road. I recognize what a gem Bishop Airport is to the community. I always have, but I also recognize I think it could play a bigger role. It could have more carriers. There could be, I think, more marketing. It could be the go-to airport for a greater part of our community. This is one of many reasons why I'd like to be on the Airport Authority. And I just wanted, again, to put a face to a name, and I would certainly appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I'd like, through you, I'd like to ask the gentleman to repeat his name. I didn't catch his name.
John Tosto, T-O-S-T-O.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any additional public comments?
Yes, Travis Howell, Davison Township. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak here tonight. Like I mentioned, my name is Travis Howell. I currently have the honor of serving as the Davison Township Treasurer, and recently have submitted my application to be considered for an opening on the Genesee County Parks and Recreation Commission. And I appreciate the opportunity to share briefly about myself. As an Eagle Scout, I have always valued community involvement, leadership, and service. Those values continue to guide my work in local government and my personal commitment to giving back. That commitment extends to both parks in Davison Township and throughout Genesee County. My family and I regularly enjoy many of our county's parks, having spent a time in majority of them and even became engaged in one of them. I have seen firsthand the important role they play in recreation, conservation, and quality of life for our residents. Beyond serving local families, our parks also attract visitors from outside of our area and contribute to the overall vitality and reputation of Genesee County. They are truly an asset and a point of pride for our county. Therefore, I would be honored to continue to serve in Genesee County. So I thank you for your time and consideration on my application for Genesee County Parks and Recreation Commission.
Thank you. Any further public comments? Public comments going once, twice? Okay, public comments are now closed. Do we have any old business? Okay. We do have communications. I'm sorry I skipped that. We do have a guest speaker who's going to join us virtually. It occurred to me during our last workshop meeting that we need to have a subject matter expert on broadband to answer some of the questions about funding. And so we decided to call in someone from Washington, D.C., who is going to pipe in and tell us about the status of BEAD funding for broadband across the country. And as she logs in, I'm going to read her bio just so you know a little bit about her. Her name is Gigi Sohn, I believe it's pronounced Sohn. She's a Benton Institute Senior Fellow and Public Advocate and the Executive Director of the American Association of Public Broadband. She is one of the nation's leading public advocates for open, affordable, and democratic communications networks. In recognition of her expertise and dedication to the public interest in communications, President Biden nominated her to serve on the Federal Communications Commission in 2021. From 2013 to 2016, Gigi was counselor to the former chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Tom Wheeler. Singled out by Chairman Wheeler as the conscience of the chairman's office for her tireless advocacy on behalf of American consumers and competition, the Daily Dot named Gigi one of the heroes who saved the internet in recognition of her role in the adoption of the FCC's 2015 network neutrality rules. And so Gigi has been, I first met Gigi in Ann Arbor when we had a meeting at Merit, our broadband partners who are walking us through this process. And she just really appealed to me as, appeared to be a really knowledgeable person and can answer many of the questions that came up that during our workshop meeting. So if we could try to pipe her in now. Hi, Gigi.
Hi there. I can't see anybody though.
Oh, we can see you and we can hear you fine.
Okay, well then, I guess that will have to do. Dr. Brown, thank you so much for inviting me here today. And folks, I wish I could be there in person, but I just got asked a couple days ago to do this. And I'm very excited to talk to you about why I think the county ought to move forward with building a fiber network. So first, I want to talk about that. What are the reasons for doing so? Second, I want to talk about, what funding is available, or unfortunately, I hate to say, not available from the federal government. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about the technologies. There's been talk about, well, fiber is expensive, and satellite is good, and wireless is good. I want to kind of debunk some of those myths. So let me just start first. And I won't take more than 5-6 minutes, and then we can go to Q&A. So why do this? Why invest? And it is an investment. I realize it's not cheap, but why invest in a fiber network, whether it's a middle mile network or a last mile network? And if folks don't know the difference between that, I'm happy to discuss that. But why invest? First is economic development. You cannot, in this day and age, you cannot attract businesses, educational institutions, healthcare facilities, or new residents without high-speed internet access. If you have any dream of, attracting some of the AI business that is, growing all around the country, it's not going to happen unless you have fiber broadband. It's just the way it is. And one of the first things that new homeowners look for when they are looking at new homes is whether they have high-speed broadband access, preferably fiber. My brother-in-law sells new homes in North Carolina, and he says it's like one of the, they ask about schools and they ask about internet connectivity. So if you want to bring new people, if you want to revivify, the county and the cities in the county like Flint, you really need to have connectivity. It is absolutely necessary. And, the number of towns and cities that have been transformed when they've built their own networks are numerous. And I'll just tick off a couple. Chattanooga, Tennessee, which now has quantum computing, which is just, I'll explain it as just super fast computing beyond anything you could possibly imagine. Longmont, Colorado, Loveland, Colorado, Holly Springs, North Carolina, Pharr, Texas, Huntsville, Alabama, Idaho Falls, Idaho, most of Western Massachusetts, like 13 cities in Massachusetts, again, have owned their own networks, have built their own networks. Here in Michigan, Holland and Traverse City are two of the cities that have built their own. And again, it attracts businesses, it attracts residents, it attracts tourists, because people often come like for the summer and they rent a summer home and they're half working and half relaxing and they need connectivity. So it really is, it's essential. And that leads me to my second point, that you build a fiber network because it provides affordable, fast connectivity for all. And it's really, it's an absolute necessity for everyone for full participation in society, the economy, to access government services, healthcare, telehealth appointments, education, to do your homework. I mean, I don't even know, nobody really argues anymore that it isn't a necessity. I believe it's a utility. That's an argument that we have in Washington, D.C., but I think there's some people who quicker would do away with their electricity than do away with their broadband. I mean, even jobs like working at McDonald's, you have to have online connectivity in order to apply for service jobs like that. So it's just, if you don't have it, you're not, they say, you're not a full participant in society and you are just way, way, way behind. Now, I'm going to assume, and if I'm wrong, please tell me, that folks have seen the Next Genesee study done with Merit, which is one of my close colleagues. That 63% of the respondents said they were dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with their internet connectivity. And I can't blame them, because most of them have either digital subscriber line, which was popular in 1999, or they have cable, which is also, relative to, fiber and even some of the wireless technologies, slow. 41% of those who don't subscribe to broadband they say it's too expensive. Yeah, cost is the number one reason why people don't have connectivity. And when you own your own network or you build your own network, you can ensure, if you have the right partner, you can ensure that everybody has access to affordable connectivity. That is something that you can demand. And my understanding is 13% of residents don't have access to a network at all. So I think it's important to kind of understand that there's two main reasons, right? There's two main reasons why people don't have connectivity. And there is a myth that, everybody has it. In fact, there was a Wall Street Journal article that said the other day that 99% of American households have connectivity. That's just not true. And even in the county, 13% of residents don't have any connectivity at all. So no network to connect to. And then most of them that don't have it say, well, we don't have it because it's just too expensive. And the United States has some of the highest broadband prices in the world. We are like something like 30 something on the list of OECD countries in terms of internet affordability. The third and final reason, there's many more reasons, but for purposes of this, to have a broadband network in your community, a fiber network, is that it makes a city smarter, more efficient, saves money, and wealthier. So you can monitor, and it's hard to hit a sore spot, water quality, the energy grid, environmental conditions, right? If there's, a flood coming or a hurricane or, or a tornado, you can monitor that. There are a myriad of public safety uses. You can monitor traffic, right? So you can, the city can see what the traffic patterns are and, and decide, how to fix their traffic lights according to when the traffic is, and when to deploy public safety and others depending on traffic patterns. You can also migrate city services like the DMV services, right, motor vehicle services, 411 services, and other services to the internet, and that saves money and time. And finally, it not only saves money to have a fiber network, it can actually be a center that brings in significant revenue. So the extra fiber that one has, what we call dark fiber, that is fiber that is not in use, can be leased out to companies, community anchor institutions, and others. and you can make a pretty penny from it. So yes, it is an investment up front, but in the long run, it will end up paying for itself. So I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to talk about the government funding and the technology, and just see if anybody has any questions on what I just said. And of course, I cannot see you, so maybe Dr. Brown, you can call on people to ask me questions.
Sure. Does anybody have a question for Gigi about anything she just covered? I don't see any hands, Gigi. So if you could talk about the,
Okay, well, I guess I'm just killing it then. All right, well, I'll move forward. So, there's a lot of talk about federal government funding. I actually had a role in helping to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law in 2021 that had 42, among other things, had $42.5 billion for broadband deployment. And that's a program called the Broadband Equity, Access, and Deployment Program. And its intention was to build infrastructure in unserved and underserved areas. Michigan got $1.66 billion of that $42.5 billion, and that's fantastic. Unfortunately, Genesee County is not going to see any of that because Genesee County is not considered unserved. I won't get into the details about how this administration, I'm bipartisan. I'm a Democrat, but I'm bipartisan in my criticism of how this program has been handled. And the Biden administration was too particular, too legalistic, and they took way too long to get the money. In fact, they did not get the money to the states, and that allowed the Trump administration to change the rules in a way that has not benefited, particularly not benefited rural areas, because what they ended up doing was taking that money away from fiber and giving it to satellite, which is a far inferior technology, which I'll talk about in a minute. But Genesee County is not considered unserved for the purpose of the BEAD program. And in those underserved areas are not going to get connectivity either. So unfortunately, that's not available to the county, which to my mind argues for self-help. There is a pot of money that, so let me just explain. So whatever part of that $42.5 billion or whatever part of that $1.66 billion that Michigan does not use for deployment can be used for non-deployment purposes. Now, the Commerce Department has not decided which of those non-deployment purposes it can be used for. The law says it can be used for broadband adoption, which might help some of the folks who cannot afford broadband, because adoption refers more to like programs that teach you how to use the internet, right? Or teaches you how to protect your privacy. It's not, it's not a subsidy. So there was a subsidy called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and that was something that Congress adopted during the COVID period. And it was a $30 a month subsidy, and it was wildly popular. 23 million U.S. households took advantage of it, and then it ran out of money, and Congress did not renew it. And I've been fighting to try to get it renewed ever since. And those of you that follow Washington, D.C., I'm sure understand how difficult it is to do anything substantive in Congress, so we don't have it. So even that extra money that Michigan saved by, maybe giving a little bit more to satellite and what have you, is not going to go to solve the affordability problem. It may go to solve the problem that people have in not actually knowing how to use the internet. So unfortunately, I wish I could say that there was a federal money to dip into, but right now there is not. And again, to me, is an argument for why the county ought to move forward on a network project. So let me just close by talking a little bit about fiber versus everything else. So fiber is more expensive. I'll say that right off the bat, but it's faster the speeds are symmetrical, right? So what do I mean by that? I mean that the upload speeds and the download speeds are the same. And that's important if you want to do any kind of video or any kind of application that needs, if you want to upload something to the internet, which a lot of people do, particularly students, it's really, really important to have a very fast upload speed as well as download speed. Okay, and it was interesting in that next Genesee study, the people were asked, what do you use the internet for? What do you want to use the internet for? They didn't say to watch Netflix. All right. They said for healthcare, they said for education, they said for jobs, sort of the essentials. And you do need that connectivity. So it's faster, symmetrical, and this is really important. It's infinitely scalable. So the gigabit speed that you get today can easily be 10 gigabits just by adding more strands. So fiber, it's too bad that we couldn't do an actual technical demonstration. Maybe, Mike, that's something you could do for the folks, is you just add more strands. And wireless can't do that. Okay, and it lasts for decades, right? The shelf life of a satellite is 5 years. The shelf life is fiber is decades, 20 years, 30 years. So I know there was some concerns about obsolescence. If anything, wireless and satellite would become obsolete far quicker, and they just don't have the capacity, number one. Number two, and this is really important, both for wireless, fixed wireless technology and for satellite, is if you have certain topography, if you have bad weather, if you can't get it, it will be blocked. So West Virginia, despite the push by this administration to have more money go to satellite, West Virginia, which is reliably a Republican-leaning state, fought like hell to make sure that it gave I think 98% to fiber, because wireless and satellite cannot operate where there are mountains, right? Anything that blocks, even tall buildings, right? It blocks the signal. And that's just a reality of that's just a reality. And that isn't going to change. So, again, I'm not going to lie to you and say that fiber is cheaper. It is not. But over the long term, it's less expensive and better for your residents. So I've talked for about 10 minutes. I'm going to stop. I'm going to see if there are any questions now. And, I'm happy to answer anything that anybody wants to ask.
All right. Thank you, Gigi. Are there any questions from commissioners about the funding aspect, about the fiber versus satellite? Okay. I don't see any hands up, Gigi, so thank you for your education. Thanks for spending a little bit of time on a Wednesday night to let us know about what's going on with this project.
I'm sorry. I mean, the sound is so bad. Can somebody repeat? Was that a question or a statement or what?
No. No one had any questions, so I just thanked you for your presentation. And it gives us a lot to think about and to consider as we move forward with, evaluating the broadband options.
And Dr. Brown, can I just offer, if you can give folks my email address, I'm happy to talk to anybody one-on-one. I feel extremely passionate about this. Look, the reason that communities build their own networks, either by themselves or in partnership with a private entity, is because the incumbents are not serving them properly. I mean, when I saw the numbers of how many folks in the county still have digital subscriber line, that's copper, that's crazy to me, right? And obviously they're not interested. I mean, I assume this body has asked whoever, I don't know who your cable company is or who your, telecom is, has asked them, will you build us a fast, affordable network? And they'll say, and this has happened many times with folks I work with, they'll say, here's what we're giving you and you're welcome. And they will cherry pick the richest areas, which I know there are areas in your county that are not that. So sometimes you just have to do it yourself. And I'm not going to tell you that there's no risk. Of course, there's risk, but there's ways to accomplish this that minimize the risk. So, as you guys consider this, I think the cost of doing nothing is far greater than the cost of investment because the county will be left behind if you don't move forward on an ambitious project like this. So, and I think I've laid out all the reasons to do it, but if you don't do it, nothing's going to change, and that's, I think, very unfortunate for a great part of the country and a great county. So, again, I make myself available to talk to anybody about this, and thanks again, Dr. Brown, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Gigi. I will share your contact information with my colleagues here on the board. And I do have a copy of the Next Genesee Resident Survey report, the study that was done in the fall of 2024. If anybody's interested in taking a look at it, we had the author of the report come and present to us, and she unpacked the whole study during the Impact Genesee Summit that we had last summer. But many of you may have been in other workshops, and so maybe you didn't get a chance to hear her presentation. But we have this data available, so if you can look at it, it can also tell you information about your own districts and access to broadband in your own areas. So thank you again, Gigi, and I want to thank Mike DeWisha, too, for helping to make the connection with you tonight. And we'll plan our next steps. Okay, so next item on the agenda is new business. We have Resolution 2025-2755, approval of a grant award from the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation in the amount of $730,000 to provide for the construction of Fenton Road, Phase 1, non-motorized trail project. Is there a motion to approve?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions?
Madam Chair, I did have a question before we move forward. I wasn't going to ask it online, but I wanted to know, was she on broadband? I just thought, I'm sorry, no additional question.
Commissioner Shoemaker, I saw your hand.
Thank you. Are there matching funds required for this?
Thank you, through the chair to you. These are the last piece of dollars that we need for the project. So there's no matching funds from Genesee County. It's about a $3 million total project. They have $2.3 million now. The $750 and change will make the full amount so that project can be constructed.
Go ahead.
If I may continue, Madam Chair. Is there funding set aside for maintenance of these trails?
So each of the trail projects, in order to apply for federal funds, which there are some federal funds in this, they have to actually also propose a maintenance plan.
Okay. But are there funds, just as an example, set aside, let's say somebody tears it up or damages it somehow or something freak happens to it, are there funds set aside for that?
So each community deals with it differently, right? Each township, city, or village has different processes that they do. We are looking, though, wider scale on maintenance, and are there some ways we can do some things differently than what's done in the past? So I would stay tuned on the maintenance piece to see what we can do with that, because I think it's all well and good today, but in 10, 20, 30 years, right, if that trail's not maintained, how do we put some things in place that are a little bit more proactive?
As you know, Derek, we had the Southern Lakes path down there that when I served on Fenton's board and Southern Lakes Park and Rec, they wanted to put that through. My concern is always with this is, there's liability. Are the communities prepared to take on the liability piece? Who's going to maintain it? Who's going to look after it? And then on top of it, are you strain services because, people may get hurt or anything else like that on the path, and who's responsible for that? As far as this pathway goes, what municipalities are all involved in this piece? And when you say there's a final piece of a $3 million piece, so.
Yeah, so this should end up right at the dog park, which is on Thompson and Fenton Road. And then it would extend from where it stops at the north end of the city of Fenton. So like, don't quote me on the names, but it's that little chunk right there. And I can look up specifically on the maintenance stuff, what is in the applications and those type of things for the federal funds. I'll let you know what it actually says on that.
Like I said, my only concern would be are they gonna come back on the county at any point because we help facilitate this and maintenance or problems like that? And yeah, been a long time coming for this. Would we start talking about that path 9 years ago or so? Well, thank you, Derek, for all your hard
Yep.
work, and I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions regarding this resolution? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 2025-2756, approval of a grant award from the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation in the amount of $275,000 to provide for trail staff support, website design, and marketing grant to implement Genesee County's strategic trails plan. Is there a motion to approve?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions about this piece? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Could we have a,
I'm sorry, could we have a little more information on this so we can understand a little more?
Mr. Bradshaw is going to give us more information on this.
Sure, thank you. Through you, through the chair. So we're working on an initiative of, at the pace we're working right now on trails, Genesee County as a whole, not the Planning Commission, about 1.5 miles a year, right? So we need, in order to actually connect all these trails up, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 40 miles of trails. So how do we supercharge that process? And how do we look at trails differently when we're doing grant applications? And how do we kind of partner it? And the one in Fenton that we're just talking about, they've been at this for quite some time. Goodrich, the same thing. They've been at trails for, 12, 13 years to get connections. So how do we streamline the process, deal with them in bigger chunks? And then the goal of and that's what some of the staff is, to how to put that plan together so that we can look, instead of just applying for the 1 mile here, the 1 mile there, let's apply for the full 5 miles. And let's get the funding lined up for the full 5 miles so that we can save on our engineering costs, save on our construction cost, and across the board. So with this, our goal is to put together, and we've modeled this after a couple other things that we've seen in the state, so that in the next 5-6 years, we can actually have those trail connections made. So that's the intent of this. The other piece that I think is key, we currently have about 130 miles of trails right now in Genesee County. There's not a significant marketing piece to that. A lot of people don't know they have them in their communities. So you'll see there's a marketing piece in there as well to really amp up the stuff that we have out there that a lot of people in their communities don't even know that they have in their communities.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Can you give me a call tomorrow? I want to talk to you something. I don't want to pull the board meeting up, but I want to talk to you about road commission, their place in this as far as crossings and other stuff like that and traffic studies. So if you could give me a call whenever you get a chance. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Bradshaw before he takes his seat? Thanks, Derek.
Thanks.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Final resolution, 2026-0035, approval of a grant award from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in the amount of $441,282 to provide for Genesee County's weatherization program. This grant requires a $28,164 match. It's been moved and, is it supported?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any questions on this weatherization program? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I don't think we have any other business before the committee. We are adjourned at 6:04 PM.
I call to order the Finance Committee at 6:04 and 30 seconds. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Present.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuznow,
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
present.
Approval of the minutes from December the 3rd.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We now take time for public comment to the committee. Is there anybody from the comment that wishes to address the Finance Committee? Is there anybody that wishes to address the Finance Committee? Third and final call. Seeing none, we move on to, there isn't any communications. Old business, there isn't. New business, I did want to make a statement before we get started. And I guess I've had a lot of thought even since this afternoon, and we started this meeting tonight. But I wanted to try to, being sometimes we get very passionate in how we feel on different items, and we have discussions. I was going to make a recommendation that we follow our bylaws, which is each commissioner has a chance to speak twice for 5 minutes each, and then that's also basically parliamentarian procedure too. However, in thinking about it in the last 15 minutes since I had a conversation with a fellow commissioner, there's a big difference between stating your position and your reasons why and et cetera than asking for information. And you know, we just witnessed here in Dr. Brown's committee a commissioner asking a lot of questions, just seeking information. And I don't think that should be limited. And I think that people should ask those questions. We need to know those questions. So I've kind of changed my mind on that. And I say this because I talked to some other commissioners too about doing that and what I was going to do. I know later on at the end of this meeting we'll be bringing up a couple of resolutions, and I just don't want to get into a long argument on it because I know there's different passionate feelings about it. So just keep that in mind as we move forward to try to get your thoughts together and be concise and try to limit your time. And, you know, I just don't want to get into any public arguments, that's all. So moving forward.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate everything that you stated. What I don't think we need to do as a board, not suggesting that you're seeking to do that, but I'm just being very transparent, is try to censor or to center anybody's words or thoughts. We're all elected equally here. And regardless of the topic, there are going to be topics that we breeze through and breeze by with no discussion. And there's going to be other issues where we're going to have robust discussion. And I've been a part of this board for the last 3 years, and not one meeting have we adhered to our bylaws about individuals speaking only 2 times. And so tonight, I understand there are matters that are before us that we may even have opposite perspectives of, but I just want to say to preface the discussion by limiting the perspectives of those that may have more to say. I don't think it's the courtesy that I don't think it's courteous at all. I think that we should maintain a standard of being respectful, but I think that each board member is elected to share whatever their sentiment is and to do it in a respectful way, even if colleagues or staff may not like what's being said. That's our elected right. And so I plan, as I always do, to speak freely and to be centered in whatever that perspective is, and to represent the residents that I'm elected to, and that is regardless if commissioners want me to talk 2 minutes or 4 minutes. That's my perspective. So I just wanted to say that because I know where those comments are directed to, and my words won't be censored or centered on this board, but I'll be respectful.
Resolution 25-2619, approval of the request to create, post, and fill one Chief Strategic Growth Officer position.
So moved.
Support. Do we have any discussion or comments?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So we did postpone this to this meeting, and I was supposed to do a little homework related to your concern about the reporting structure for this position.
Correct.
I did homework, but I didn't actually write a proposal down, so my apologies for that. Anita, you were very helpful. I wonder if you might approach, and as I understand it, we pretty much have uniform language in all of our director level, senior level positions that says that the person is hired by and reports to the Genesee County Board of Commissioners. Is that true?
Correct.
And you sent me copies of the job descriptions which show that. So I'm certainly in favor of replacing the language that is currently in the proposed job description where the person kind of reports all over the place a little bit with what we have in essentially every other job description. I know that isn't entirely helpful now because it's not in writing, but that's what I would support.
I'm a little unclear exactly. You're supporting to change the language between now and next?
Well, we can change the language between, if we vote to move it forward, I can bring a substitute next week which lines out the stuff that
That would be fine with me,
and we'll add in the language that I just sort of recited from memory. Is that okay?
as long as everything reads like the other.
We can do that. I can send it tonight before we go home.
Yeah, we need to take care of this to move it forward.
Yep. So my apologies for not having a written proposal, but I did half of what I said I would do. Terrible, right? I'm batting 500, is that what they say?
You're finding out how complicated things are. At the
Yeah,
chair
you know,
level.
when you're the chair, you've got a lot on your plate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But does anybody else have any comments or concerns about that? Okay, any other comments? None? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 25-2782, approval of a contract between Genesee County and Flint Odyssey House Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $226,283 to provide substance abuse treatment services to Genesee County Sobriety Court. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the following accounts.
Support.
Is there any comments or questions? And this is in the budget. Crystal?
Said yes. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't see her out there. All right. Well, I guess I couldn't hear her either. Fair. Okay, all those in favor? Did you have a question? I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's more of a statement than what I'm gonna say, and I've said it before. My concern is, once again, we hand out all these dollars, and how do we know they're being effectively used? How are we ranking our success? How are we showing that these are a good use of county tax dollars? So I'm not just, please don't think I'm just picking on this program, because that's not what I'm saying, but it's brought to my mind that we really need to make sure that every dollar we have out there that we're spending is going to where it's supposed to be going and is used effectively. This is just one example that got me thinking of it. I hope I put that in your minds over the years as my fellow commissioners, that's very important, that these should be effective, and we just pass these resolutions sometimes with no knowledge of how they are working or what they're doing. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 25-2796, approval of a purchase order to the Regents of the United States, University of Michigan for the fiscal year ending 2026 in an amount not to exceed $5,000 to provide for the annual subscription of various court books.
So moved.
Support.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 25-2832, approval of a purchase order to Huron Valley Guns for the fiscal year ending in 2026 in the amount of $40,416 for the purchase of quantity 192 tactical pants and uniform shirts, including the sewing of department-issued badges onto shirts. The cost of this purchase order is grant-funded and will not be paid from account.
Move it.
And will be, I'm sorry, I said will not, will be paid, yes.
Support.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nay, motion, geez, where am I here? No votes? None. Motion passes. Resolution 25-2861, forwarding to receive and file a copy of the paid county bills for the weeks ending 11/9/25, 11/16/25, 11/23/25, 11/30/25, 12/7/25, 12/14/25, 12/21/25, in the total amount of $52,028,400.92.
Move it. Support.
Any discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 25-2868, approval of a proposed budget amendment to the 25-26 appropriations resolution for various line items as described in the attached budget adjustment request.
Support.
Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Other business, Resolution 26-0047, approval of a salary for Corporation Counsel. And I'm going to make the motion to approve $140,000. Basically, Commissioner Getzinger and I were tasked with coming up with a recommendation. So we did that with Corporation Counsel, and the next one, we looked at what he was paid, we compared it to what he's paid now, and we compared it to what the public defender made, and the public defender is in that ballpark of 140, so we recommended that we bring it to the board to leave it at 140,000 with no changes, and to follow the pattern that we did with the rest of the county employees that didn't receive a raise, to do a $600 bonus, and to leave the benefit package the same as everybody else.
Mr. Chair, I have a, I don't know if you have support for that motion or not.
Yeah, we got to have support, and,
I'll support it.
All right, Mr. Chair,
well, I made it, so you support. Go ahead.
I have a
sir.
substitute motion because we have the, there'll be two add-on resolutions for governmental operations to take the next steps as it relates to the evaluations that we conducted. And I'd like to, I think it probably makes sense for us to tie them together, and then the board, maybe we can consider both at the same time, the evaluations and also the pay increases. Timing for bringing the resolutions as an add-on is the resolutions were just completed today and sent to us from our legal department. And I just learned that the, and then with the timing of the pay increases coming to this committee today, I know that we needed to go ahead and bring them so that we can consider them at the same time. So maybe we can postpone the discussion on both of these till governmental ops, and then maybe come back to finance to consider them under your committee or something like that. But it'd be good for us to take the next step on the evaluations and then put the pay consideration with it. It just seems like they should go together.
I'd support that.
Okay, any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And I assume that was a motion for both these items.
No, it was just for the first, but I'll make the same motion for the next as well, to postpone it to governmental ops or pause it, table it, and then we can come back to finance after governmental ops. Because I think we still should handle it under your committee, so you chair the discussion.
Okay, so we'll take that as the prime motion. Any support for that?
Support.
Is there any discussion as tabling it and tying it into the evaluation process? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We don't have any other business that I know of, and I adjourn at whatever time it is.
6:21.
All right, the time is 6:21. I'd like to call the Government Operations Committee to order. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Mr. Clerk, Mr. Director Administrator. A little more, no.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Present.
Commissioner Kuzinoff.
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill.
I'm here.
Commissioner Flewilling.
Present.
I'd say the young ladies from the clerk's department does it a lot better, Josh, but that was sufficient.
I
Thank
understand.
you. All right. First thing before us is the approval of minutes from December 3rd, 2025.
Move it.
All right, been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we've come to our public comment period of this committee. Are there any speakers who wish to address this committee? Any speakers wishing to address this committee? Any speakers desiring to address this committee? All right, public speaking is closed. Are there any communications for this evening? None. All right, no old business, new business, resolution 2025-2778, approval of a grant award for Region 3 Homeland Security Planning Board, an amount of $30,000 to provide for the renewal of services for 10 existing flock cameras. The budget for this agreement is a part of our attachments.
Move it.
Support.
All right, been moved by Commissioner Flewelling, supported by Commissioner Avery. Any discussion?
Thank you,
Commissioner
Mr. Chair. I wonder, Captain, would you mind, are you the one that could speak to this, or? Okay, sorry. My line of questioning applies to both this one and the next resolution related to flock cameras. Where's the data stored? It's a cloud-based storage.
Yes,
Who has access to that?
Flock and then any agency that has the software to get to it.
So Flock is a private company, developed the technology, is offering it to communities, including ours. We have purchased these in the past. I know we've approved it in the past, and I voted for it. I'm starting to think more and more about our surveillance society that we're creating in this country, and have some concerns about it, not necessarily about Flock in particular, but just that all of this data is being gathered, stored, and who has access to it. So Flock, for Genesee County's data,
The technical aspects of Flock itself, I cannot comment on. As the emergency manager, I'm the one that just filed the paperwork that allowed the grant to happen.
okay.
So I don't have any personal usage with the actual software.
I know that you said that Flock owns the data, if you will, or has it anyway, and then they make it available to different agencies so that they can run checks on car license plates if a car is stolen in California, but it's being driven through Grand Blanc. The database can put that together and alert law enforcement. Do you know which agencies have access to the data? Okay. Do you, Captain Murphy, have any sense of it? Thank you for your responses.
Tag team this one, hopefully.
Yeah.
Captain Jason Murphy, Genesee County Sheriff's Office. So with that, the only people that can access that are law enforcement agencies that utilize Flock already. So say that plate is ran, Flock will keep it for 30 days, and then it's eliminated. They don't save anything. The only way anything would get saved is if we did an investigation and we actually downloaded that and it would be attached to our case file.
I
Flock
see.
still wouldn't keep that. It's still, after 30 days, it's eliminated. And if we say we did a check on something, like we put in black pickup truck because that was used in, say, a shooting, it'll give us multiple ones. We can look at that. It's still not saving it unless we actually download it and we determine that's the one we want for our investigation.
I see. Give us a sense of how often you use the images. Is it still images, video as well?
Correct, you can get both. I would say daily, not just, maybe not just our agency, but, you know, with Flint City using them, other agencies, daily it's being used.
Okay, and it's a valuable tool from your perspective?
Absolutely. Not just for the criminal component of it, but, say, missing, endangered dementia patients, runaway children, something like that.
And the pictures or video that are gathered, definitely the license plates. And then when I read through the backup materials, can it capture things like bumper stickers and?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whenever you know, if a witness tells you it's got these bumper stickers or broken back window, we put that in the description and it'll try and pick those out.
So those are used to help identify the vehicle. They're not used to target people who have bumper stickers we don't like. Is that?
Absolutely, just to locate that vehicle.
That's very reassuring. Not that I have any, but all right. I'm satisfied. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the same line of questioning, is there a way we could get a letter from the company stating that they don't sell any information to third parties or anything else like that? Because a lot of, you know, we had a gentleman come up here a couple months ago that brought this up, and I started thinking about it. You know, everybody's selling data. That's the currency right there. That's what people are doing. And I just want to make sure that they are not taking any of this data. It's not being sold. So if we could just get something, and maybe it's in the contract we have with them, I don't know. But if we could just look into that, I think that'd make a lot of people feel better. Because as I mentioned before, I'm not in favor of being a big brother state of times. I know it helps you guys do your jobs, and it makes it so much, you know, easier. You know, there's eyes everywhere then, and when there is a problem, you can react to it. But if you could get us that, and then you could also, if we could find out what kind of security protocols they actually have in place to protect that data. You know, with all these hacks out there, you know, just a while ago, credit company that provides actual protection and security actually got hit. You know, so I would just like to know what they do, you know, as far as cybersecurity, whether they're outsourcing that, who they're using, is it overseas, where it's at. So if we could just get those two things, I would greatly appreciate it. And it would, like I said, if you could get it before next week, it'd be great. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and no, that's might be in the contract. I'll look through it again, but I'll have that information for you.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Commissioner Flewelling.
Mr. Chair, just one quick thing. While I appreciate my colleagues' concern about the surveillance state, I'm right there with you. However, I do, just a quick point of reference, I do believe several years ago we had a murder in Richfield Township, and flock cameras helped track the suspect all the way to Kentucky,
Absolutely.
where
no,
the state patrol got him there.
Absolutely, and we've used it for multiple high-end crimes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Resolution 225-2833, approval of purchase order to Flock in an amount not to exceed $60,000 to renew the services for hardware and software products for 20 Flock Safety Falcon cameras. The term of this coverage is from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. The cost of this purchase is fully grant funded.
Move it.
All right, moved by Commissioner Flewelling, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there any discussion? All right, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Just the fact that October 1st, I'm just wondering why we're 3.5 months late.
Looks like he's coming.
I'm going to add a question to that, if I may. His question was, why is it late? My question is, have we already entered into the contract, and are we already 3+ months into it?
Correct, and I think what it was, this was already approved in the GAIN contract, and they just sent us the invoice for that part of it. We got that, I think, early December, so I don't think we could get it on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any additional discussion? All right.
If I may add to the last comment, though, just as a thought, and I don't know who quoted this, but those who are willing to give up freedom for security will have neither. So just as a thought moving forward, you know, I want to be careful with these things. I realize our staff respects it, but we can't control everybody. So I just want to be very careful. Like I said, I have nothing but respect for our staff does, but it just always concerns me when that data is out there. So thank you.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? I have a question to you, Mr. Freeman, or you, whoever can answer the question. So if we hadn't already started, do we need to do this coverage from October 1st? Because that gives you the ability to go backwards if you were billed or what have you. I mean, should we be amending the time period on this or leave it the same?
No. I believe it started October 1st. It was already approved, and we're just paying for the renewal service of this timeline,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
if I'm correct with that, Josh.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Resolution 2025-2836, approval of a grant award from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in the amount of $71,075 to support crime victim sustainability efforts at Genesee County's Sheriff's
Move it.
Office. No matches required. Been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery. Any additional discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-2843, approval of a purchase order to Pinnacle Design for the fiscal year ending 2026 in an amount not to exceed $2,451 to provide for the purchase of a lobby podium at Genesee County's Clerk Register of Deeds office. The cost of this purchase order is budgeted. What's your pleasure?
I'll move it. Support.
Moved by Commissioner Winfrey, supported by Commissioner Avery. Discussion, Commissioner Shoemaker.
What exactly is this?
Anybody from the clerk's office here that can speak to this?
He is not here tonight. It's a podium for them to stand. They have a clerk that stands out in the lobby and kind of navigates the folks that are coming into the office, and that's for them to stand to that.
What kind of podium is it? Do we know? $2,400 just for a podium. I mean, is it like our adjustable one?
No.
I know they're not here, but they asked me to speak on their behalf. It's a podium, stand-up podium, and a chair as well to greet
And Ms.
visitors into their area. We went through an RFP process. It's the county selected vendor for the furniture.
Okay. Thank you, Ray.
All right.
No, appreciate you coming up. Thank you.
Commissioner Brown.
I did have a chance to talk to the clerk about this purchase because I too was, concerned about the cost. He responded that it would be a portable podium that would be used either inside the glass or outside the glass. And when I was there conducting business personally, I noticed a lady who was standing outside the door, just kind of standing there, directing people which window to go to. There was no official, she didn't look official. She was standing there, and it was very awkward with, 30 people inside that confined space. And so it would add to the effectiveness, and I think in the efficiency of having a podium which could be used either outside that window or inside the window for someone to provide guidance to customers that come through the clerk's office. And so from my personal experience, I think there is a need for such a podium.
All right, Commissioner Kuzma.
Recently, I've had to go through the clerk's office for a number of personal reasons, and it was very confusing with the person. I mean, I was able to pick out who I needed to talk to, but there's no really official place for customers to walk into and ask and talk to that person. So, yeah, I agree, it's a needed object.
All right, Commissioner Flewell.
Chair, through you to Mr. Freeman, don't we already have a podium that we used out front for different events? Portable podium? We do. Isn't that something we just buy a chair and they can use that?
I think we're thinking like podium, give a speech type of thing. It's being called a podium, but it's not like an official podium. It's I don't know
A
what
high
else
top
to call
table
it.
with a chair?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a heck of a table.
Furniture is very expensive.
Office furniture.
Okay.
All right, additional discussion. Anybody want to spoke? And Commissioner Shoemaker.
Will it be used on Friday? Oh, it's funny.
Any additional discussion?
I will just add that the clerk also mentioned that the furniture has to be consistent with the existing look of the furniture that we have. So that's why we're using the Pinnacle to have a consistent look.
Any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right, roll call, Mr. Freeman.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Avery. Yes. Commissioner Shoemaker.
No.
Commissioner Kuznow,
Yes.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelling.
No.
Motion passes 6-3.
All right, motion passes. Next item of business we have before us is Resolution 2025-2854, approval of resolution recognizing February 2026 as Black History Month in Genesee County.
I'll move it.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Winfrey, supported by Commissioner Avery. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Could someone read it? Or we wait till the next meeting to read it?
Whatever your pleasure is.
I mean, whatever pleases the board. I just, normally we read the resolution, either sooner it's in subcommittee, Dale would handle it. but,
My practice when I was in your spot as government ops chair was to read it on the first vote in committee and then dispense with that at the second vote, which is assuming it gets through to the full commission. But to me, that's up to the chair.
Why, thanks, Dale. Commissioner Wayhill, Mr. Chair. Give me 1 second and I will read it. Please. Thank you.
To the Honorable Chairperson and members of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners, Genesee County, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen, whereas the history of the United States is inextricably linked to the contributions, achievements, and resilience of African Americans, the study and recognition of Black history is essential to a complete understanding of our nation's and our community's shared heritage. And whereas Genesee County has been profoundly shaped by the leadership and civic engagement of its African American residents, and the history of the local community ties directly to the national story of race and freedom. And whereas the late Mayor Floyd J. McCree of Flint demonstrated historic leadership as one of the first African-American mayors of a major U.S. city, advocating for civil rights and equitable representation. And whereas the activism of local citizens and leaders in Genesee County, such as Woodrow Woody Atherley Jr. and Olive Beasley, contributed to the broader movement of for equality, including the passage of the pivotal legislation such as the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which sought to eliminate discrimination in housing and remains a cornerstone of civil rights laws. And whereas local historian and researcher Catherine Hunter Williams has collected stories of the Underground Railroad in Genesee County, including documenting at least 2 homes in Fenton where families sheltered previously enslaved Black people as they escaped to Canada. And whereas the story of Robert J. Cromwell is memorialized through the historical marker on the grounds of the Genesee County Courthouse, which explains that Mr. Cromwell escaped enslavement in Missouri, traveling to Genesee County where he became a barber only to be pursued by his captor and protected by a crowd of local citizens who refused to let him be taken back into bondage. And whereas the Genesee County education system has been significantly impacted by pioneering African American educators and administrators, including Melvin Banner, who served as a respected educator administrator and as a role model for educational equity, Willa Hawkins, who served as one of the first African American principals of a local school, breaking barriers and setting a precedent for educational leadership, and also serving as a Genesee County Commissioner, and Dr. Nathal Bertley, who served as the first African American superintendent of an area local school. And whereas the month of February has long been recognized nationally as a time to honor the accomplishments and central role of African Americans in history, now therefore be it resolved that this Board of County Commissioners of Genesee County, Michigan hereby designate the month of February 2026 as Black History Month in Genesee County, Michigan. Be it further resolved that the board encourages all residents, educational institutions, businesses, and community organizations to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities that reflect upon the enduring legacy and ongoing contributions of African Americans to the social, cultural, economic, and political fabric of our county and nation. Be it further resolved that the Genesee County Clerk Register is directed to provide 1 copy of this resolution to each city, village, and township within Genesee County, and to each county clerk in the state of Michigan.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Is there the resolution has been read. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Flewelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, as I stated last year, I hold no animus whatsoever towards anyone, any group, based on race, color, creed, religion, or sexual preference. I don't. Absolutely not. I will continue to feel that this is the wrong venue and the wrong process to make declarations about national holidays, months, whatever it may be. In fact, myself and the chair had a conversation about the potential of changing this process. It can be very divisive. You know, one no vote last year got me countless phone calls, emails, text messages, one with a threat to do great bodily harm, including death, all because I voted no about Pride Month, even though I stated my opposition to it. I think we're here to do the business of the people. These don't take very long, sure. But one sentence, and here we are, first meeting of the year, first committee meeting. Now, we've got two coming at us. But if we disagree with one sentence and we vote no, we're subject to, let's just face it, discrimination, harassment, threats. I don't think that brings a sense of unity. Black History Month's a great thing. I don't disagree with it. Most of the resolutions of this nature that are brought to us, I don't disagree with. But I don't personally feel it furthers county business. We can throw a whole lot of resolutions out there that can make half of this society feel uncomfortable coming to this county. And so, I restate my opposition to doing it through this process, and the fact that we're going to do this every year. Last year, I don't even know how many we had. But we have the potential of doing countless numbers every month, based on the different things that come up. So, again, I want to restate, and it's probably not going to be very popular. I'll get some backlash, but you know what? If you got my phone number, you got my email, bring it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional discussion, Commissioner Getzinger?
And I echo Commissioner Flewelling's feelings.
Any additional discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Wayhill.
I'll say that I've had several discussions. One was with Commissioner Flewelling, Commissioner Shoemaker, Commissioner Cousineau on this topic, you earlier today. So I have an interest in exploring how we can celebrate our diversity in this county, and also not divide individual commissioners in a way. That just me talking personally, not as the chair, but as someone who has thought a lot about it. I will absolutely be voting for this tonight, but I'm going to continue to talk with folks to see if there's a way to achieve our objective of celebrating diverse communities within our community in possibly a slightly different way.
All right. Thank you. Any additional discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nay. Do you have that captured, Commissioner? Mr. Freeman? Okay. All right. Thank you. Motion passes. Next, we have before us Resolution 2026-0030, approval of the Board of County Commissioner Focus Areas.
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved by Commissioner Avery, supported by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion?
So if no one else, I'm trying to sit back a little bit, but this particular one, I'm proud of all of us. We started this process last year. I think there were at least 2 study sessions, maybe 3, where this Board of Commissioners met in the old building where we started it and came up with what you see in front of us in the packet. And I think this will allow us to have an idea of where we're headed collectively. And I think it'll also give Director of Administration, other staff in the county, an idea of where we would want most of their time focused, in terms of achieving our objectives. So we had a meeting last week where we looked at what we did last year, and I think it was a great session, 2 hours worth. It was a public meeting. We had one member of the public, I think, maybe two. And so we're here now with what we settled on last week. So I'm proud of us.
Any additional discussion? Commissioner Getzinger.
And hopefully we'll be sharing this with all employees and staff of the county.
Any additional discussion?
May I just, so one thing I thought about, I noticed that we didn't include the current mission statement and the vision statement in the packet that we have. I think when we do share it with the full county staff and anyone else, that the single document or the multi-page document should start with our adopted mission and our adopted vision, which precede this body, both adopted, I think, in 2018, but they haven't been repealed, so there's still something that is at the very top of everything else that flows up. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any additional discussion? You know, the suggestion has been made as it relates to the county priorities in private that somehow over the last year that there was an emphasis put on priorities. One of the things I appreciate about our board every year that I've been here, no matter who the chairs have been of what committees or the board, has really been a build on the work of the previous year. Happened with Commissioner Ellenberg, who was here. Same thing with Commissioner Avery, who served as chair, second chair that I served under. And then the same in this last year where we began discussions about the priorities, laying out those buckets and began sessions on those. And so now under Commissioner Wayhill, I want to commend him. Now here we are again, taking our work to the next level. And so I look forward to all of the work that we'll do even beyond this point to continue to build on the priorities, but also to move priorities forward as a board. That's what we're here for. Any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, all opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Next before us, we have Resolution 2026-0028, approval of a proposed change to the Genesee County Planning Ordinance. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
All right, been moved by Commissioner.
You skip 7.
Did I skip 7? I'll come back to it, if that's okay. It's been moved by Commissioner Avery, supported by Commissioner Cousineau. Is there any discussion on this one? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Could we have a little more explanation on this?
I can speak to it.
Okay.
So what this resolution does is it changes the ordinance that allows the chairperson of the board to appoint all of the members of the Genesee County Planning Commission, and it makes the process whereby those appointments will then come to the full board for the full board to take through the appointments process, and then those individuals, instead of being selected by the chair, as has been done in years past, that now those individuals will be selected by the board by a majority vote. That's what this resolution does.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any additional discussion? Commissioner Cousineau.
What the chair just said is correct. I just wanted to give a little history on it. When the Planning Commission was created by the state statute, I don't know what year, but it predates my time down here. The statute basically said that the county board will appoint it, and somehow, some way in the process of whatever board was here at the time, they changed that to the chair, which was out of sync with, and why they did that, I don't know. But changed it from being out of sync with what the state intended. And this is just really going back to what the state really meant when they passed the statute decades ago. Just a little history, that's all.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we did touch on this issue very, very briefly at the study session. Most of our study session was on our focus areas, but there was a section on appointments where I was outlining who I had appointed to different commissions and boards because I have that authority as chair. But we then did discuss for probably a minute or two the fact that this was sort of still lingering out there and there was interest, and that's how it ended up on the government ops agenda for tonight.
Any additional discussion? All right. Seeing no discussion, I have additional discussion. So obviously, we know from previous discussions, this item was highlighted when I made the last appointments to it, as the ordinance allowed the chairperson to do it. When this was shared with me and when those ordinances were before me, I raised a fundamental concern myself, although I made the appointments as the ordinance gave me the responsibility to do. And what I suggested at that time, and I've suggested to others since, is that not only did I not think the chair should make those appointments, but I don't think as a board we should make them as a collective for those seats either. One of the concerns that's been raised by some of my colleagues is about having representation from every district. And because the planning commission is planning and doing planning work as it relates to the full county at large, to me it makes more sense to make sure that we etch in this resolution that there are representatives from every district of the county that are recommended by each member of the county board to the full board for approval. So it'll be just as we do with some of the other appointments that our chairperson does have. Each commissioner then, my suggestion would identify a person from your district that will represent the interests of your district as it relates to planning. Those names would then, you vet your own candidate, you bring those names to the commission, resolution is created from your district, and then those resolutions come to us as recommended by, say for instance, for the second district, recommended by Commissioner Charles Winfrey, for the consideration of the board, and then we decide if we want to support each other's recommendations or such. So I like what is before us. That's not a knock on this, but I think if we're going to change it, I think it's a good time to discuss if we want to take it even a step forward, because the way it is written now, it still can be a situation where we don't have representatives from every district. And when we're talking about planning, it just seems like that's something that we should prioritize and consider. So we have a motion before us to move it. It's been supported. Is there any discussion about this resolution, what I've suggested? Does somebody want to make a substitute motion? Certainly I can as chair. I'm not prohibited from making a substitute motion, but I just want to hear what your thoughts are about what was just suggested.
Make the motion.
Make the motion. Okay, is there someone else that, well, I'll make the motion. I make a substitute motion that the resolution be amended to reflect the board's desire to have one planning commission person selected or recommended by each commissioner for full approval by the board. So I think you understand. And in no disrespect in suggesting the full sentiment of the commission, I'm just trying to think of what the resolution change would look like.
I'll support that.
Commissioner Cousineau.
If that is the sentiment that that would make sense at this point in time, that I would, and that that's your feeling that would be moving forward, what I would like to do is do that with every committee. Because, yeah, I know. Because a lot of the different districts are not represented across the county. And if you're going to do it for this one, then it should be for all of them. So I am opposed to your add-on for that reason. It should be for the road commission. It could be for a lot of things. We don't do that. Things are very biased down here. And I don't think what you're doing is going to help that.
All right, any additional discussion? Commissioner Dr. Brown.
I just have a question. Is there a specific number that limits the number of people on the commission, the planning commission? Do we know if, because if we have 9 appointments from each of the districts, will that violate the number that we were supposed to have on our planning commission. Do,
I think that's something that Corporation Council will need to review prior to the next meeting. If you move with this, either way you go, we can look into that and get an opinion to you by the next meeting.
And then additionally, if we need to postpone it to the next government operations to have more time to kind of flush it out, then we do that as well. There's no rush to do it tonight. The concern, and I see your hand over there, the concern has been raised, the foundation of the concern is the chair, me in my term, making the appointment and the board not being able to vote on it. So I didn't ask for the resolution, somebody else did and that's fine, because I think we need to change it. And the solution was all of us vote to appoint them. I'm not focused on the other commissions right now. I'm trying to fix what two of our colleagues particularly raised and try to make it where it's fixed for others who may want to, because as it relates to planning, and I'll digress, that group is doing sensitive work that, impacts all of the districts. So I'm okay either way. Either way it goes, how we do it is going to change. The resolution is here. The question is, how do we want to fix it? And that's not a bad discussion to have. Commissioner Shoemaker had his hand first, then Dr. Brown.
To start with, I was going where Dr. Brown went. I just wanted to make sure could do that the process is respected, that there are people probably already on the planning commission, and how many would that make? That would be one of my concerns, is you throw 9 more people on there, and then whatever we have on there, if you don't want to remove them. So it's just going to take a little bit of thought. I also agree with Commissioner Kuzno that if we're going to moving forward, I'm still for this, because I'll take every little step I can get to making sure that we are represented in the out county and make sure that their voices are heard too. So I'll take the little step we can get here or there and count myself happy. So I just want to make sure we do it right, if that's what the board's sentiment is. And I don't know what the board wants to do as far as if they want to table it and just have Corporation Council. I think it's a bigger picture item than what we're thinking right now. It's going to take a little more looking into than even next week might deliver. I don't know if we want to ask Ben if he thinks he'll be able to get it done by then. That might be a fair question to you.
I think more time than just a week would be appropriate, and I'm a little confused. Are we still on number 8, the change to the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. And that's, I presume that's related to item number 7.
Yes.
Okay. So, to make it clear, I think more time would be needed to figure out this than just 1 week.
I would put a motion forward then to table this issue until Corporation Council can further investigate what we can or can't do.
So Robert's rules, we have 2 motions on the table. I'm one to withdraw my motion, so your motion to be a substitute motion to table it to when?
Till
Next government hours?
February, you think would be fine, Ben?
My understanding is that would give, because you have your first meeting as a workshop, and then, so I think that should be sufficient time. And if after the meeting I could just get clarification as to the specific questions, that would also be very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you for your honesty.
All right. And is there support for tabling it?
Support.
Okay, supported by Commissioner Avery. Commissioner Brown.
I'm not in favor of tabling it. I'm one of 2 commissioners that have served on the Genesee Metropolitan Planning Commission for the last year and a half, I don't know, maybe 2 years. And they meet monthly on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. And it's chaired by Mr. Alan Hemaho, who, I don't know, how long has he been the chair, Derek? He's been a chair for quite a while.
Predates 2016.
So, yeah, a long time. And he is an exceptional chair who takes into consideration every inch of Genesee County. He reads every piece of information. He is very conscientious with his legal mind to make sure that nothing that comes through us gets done without a close, careful eye. I am comfortable with the number of people that are on that commission right now after having participated and after having served on that commission for several months now. And I think I've only missed one meeting over the past, when I was on vacation, over the past, couple of years that I've been appointed to it. That, to increase the number of people on that commission, I don't think it would be effective one way or the other. I think that, I understand the concern about representation from each and every district, but if the people that we go through on the appointment process, if we do our appointment process properly and correctly, then the people that we appoint will have the best interests of the entire county, in their minds. That's all.
All right, any additional discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
I'm still in favor of it. I don't buy into the notion that people that get appointed from this board always have the whole county's best interest in their mind. As someone who's lived and worked in the out county and from there, I just, like I said, I understand Dr. Brown's concern. You have good people on there, but those also could be, I don't know what district they live in, they could be somebody's appointee. And you would keep them. So it would be real simple. If they're doing a great job, then if they're in my district and you tell me they're doing a great job and I believe they're doing a great job, then guess what? That's going to be my appointee. But for so long, people have been appointed from one area, whether it used to be, as an example, Flint Township was a big one for a long time. Everyone was coming from Flint Township, and now we seem to move to, because this has grown, Grambling Township. And I like the idea of it, and on top of it, it's a start. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate what Dr. Brown has to say, but I think those people, if they're doing a great job, will stay there. Dr. Brown, for those of us who don't know, because I'm not going to pretend I know, how many people are on that board right now?
I think there's about 10 or 11.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's 11. I've sat on the board since 2016, other than 2 years, so I know how it works.
Any additional discussion? All right, my concluding remarks, and anybody else can jump in. Commissioner Cousineau on the board since 2016. Commissioner Brown on the board for how many months did you suggest?
I think I was appointed when Commissioner Wayhill came off, and I think that was maybe sometime in 2024.
Yeah. So
I actually think it was earlier. It was early
It was in
23.
2023,
It was,
yeah.
yep.
So
And
I
thank you.
served all of 24 and
Thank
all
you
of
for
25.
doing that for me. I appreciate it.
Welcome. You're welcome.
So I was just going to say, since 2016, that's the longest serving person on our board that served to now, with the chairperson appointing the people on this board. It never was an issue about how the appointment process worked until I made the appointments. That's the fact. And so now we're sitting here with a resolution to make adjustments, which I'm not opposed to, but just understand that when things come to the table like that for adjustments, right? Because if things are going so well and people are working so well and people who are on the board making such great decisions, but now we want to make a change, now you put it before the board for us to look at the whole process. Just a point of clarification, I'm not suggesting that we add 9 more people on it, but the change has been suggested. I'm suggested that if we're going to change the way we do it, that this is another alternative to how we do it. And guess what? When you change how you do it, it's possible that things change, like the chair not having the authority to make that appointment, or the process changing where we start rotating members on that board, even if it takes us over a period of years because of what the resolution ultimately says, to get to a point where we have individuals appointed from every district. Now, I didn't just pull that suggestion out of my back pocket. That's the process we used at the city of Flint when I served as president and Dale Wayhill served as city council vice president. It's the process we used when Josh Freeman served as the president of city council and served as a member of the city council. Am I correct? We had wards, our wards. We had one person represented, so I didn't just wake up with an axe to grind like how this got here. I thought about what worked effective, and it solved the issue of residents. As it relates to planning, I'm okay with having a workshop to talk about all of the other committees, but I'm not interested in throwing that in when this was brought the way that it was brought. To make sure if we're going to address it, let's make sure there's somebody from every district. I digress. I'm in support of postponing it. I think that when we bring stuff like this, we need to do all of the work. We need to consult everybody, see what everybody's sentiment, and not just go to those who may be sympathetic to our perspective. So that's where I am on the issue. It's here, so now we got to talk about it. Any additional discussion? I'm ready to vote. Any additional discussion?
You want to remind everybody what they're voting on, if that's okay?
So we're voting on item number 8 is the proposed change to the Genesee County Planning Ordinance. The motion on the table is to table it until our next governmental operations meeting. What I will do as chair of governmental operations, because it's surprise, it's in the committee I chair, then I'll have conversation with the vice chair. I'll get with folks on the board and just see how we can kind of shape this or whatever without going to a majority and all of that, breaking the law, and then try to bring, what I'll do is I'll make sure we bring back both options, because I'm fair like that, so that we can have a discussion about both and then figure out what the next steps looks like on both directions. Seeing no additional
Mr.
discussion.
Chair,
Sorry.
just a friendly addition. You've used the word table and postpone. I think properly it would be to postpone
Postpone.
until the next government ops.
Postpone to the next government operations.
And maybe throw in number 7, because they're associated.
The motion was made. Are you okay with Commissioner Shoemaker, because you made the motion? So it'll be for item number 7 and 8, postponed to the next government operations. Seeing no additional discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay,
Nay.
1 nay, 8.
2 nays.
2 nays. All right, 2 nays. All right, is it 3 nays?
2.
2 nays. Commissioner Cousineau, Commissioner Brown. Everybody else in favor. Motion passes. All right, now that brings us to Resolution 2026-0029, approval of agreement between Genesee County and the Michigan Association of Counties to provide technical assistance to the Genesee County Opioid Settlement Steering Committee.
So moved.
Been moved by Commissioner Avery, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
So I can explain how this got here. There's a woman with MAC who is charged with providing free technical assistance to any county that wishes to have it. She was at that podium probably 3 months ago, talking us through the opioid settlement criteria, money, et cetera. We are forming the new 11-member group that's going to help us, guide us on requests for proposals, what the priorities should be, non-binding, we ultimately decision. But it occurred to me that a form of technical assistance that she can provide that 11-member group is helping facilitate their meetings, be a resource. So really that is how this agreement came to us. It's a free service. She, if you remember her, and I've been in other meetings with her, she's amazing and knows the opioid issue and settlement inside and out. And I think she'll add a lot of value as a consultant or a technical support for that group and this commission, should we need to bring her in here again.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. All right, it brings us to the add-on resolutions that we have for consideration tonight. The first resolution tonight, I'm going to call it add-on resolution number 1. It is the resolution that references the Corporation Council. I'll read the resolution on January 7th. Was it January 7th? We conducted, prior to January 7th, culminating on January 7th, we had sessions that allowed us to have evaluations of our Corporation Council and discussion there, and this resolution is the follow-up to that. So I'll read the resolution and then I'll ask for a motion. To the Honorable Chairperson and members of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners, Genesee County, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, whereas this Board of County Commissioners, first of all, before I read it, major celebrations to the Corporation Council during that process. And there's so much that could be said, but doing a fantastic job from a performance standpoint. What is read in this resolution does not reflect does not reflect that, the board's sentiment was that, oh, we have some terrible corporation counsel who needs to be brought in line. That's not what this is. This is our next steps in the process of evaluating our corp counsel and director of administration. And then I believe the sentiment of the board is that evaluations will also take place with department heads as well. So I just want to be clear. The two resolutions we'll read, both of them are unique to the evaluations that took place. But kudos to both the Corporation Counsel and our Director of Administration from doing a great job from a performance perspective. Here's the resolution. To the Honorable Chairperson and members of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners, Genesee County, Michigan, whereas this Board of County Commissioners, Genesee County, Michigan Board of Commissioners is vested with oversight and governance authority to ensure the effective, ethical, and professional administration of county operations. And whereas this Board of Commissioners is committed to investing in and developing its direct reports and maintaining professional standards of conduct, accountability, and operational integrity throughout county leadership. And whereas this Board of Commissioners has adopted a policy requiring that it conduct an annual evaluation of all of its direct reports and has therefore conducted a job performance evaluation of Brian D. McMillan, Genesee County Corporation Counsel. And whereas while acknowledging and commending the outstanding contributions Corporation Counsel has made to the progress of Genesee County in accordance with the established and aligned duties of the position, this Board of Commissioners finds it necessary to formally establish performance and conduct expectations and areas for improvement in order to strengthen governance, alignment, enhance operational effectiveness, reinforce and respectful and accountable organizational culture, improve outcomes for the county and its residents. And now therefore be it resolved that this board hereby adopts the attached performance expectations and professional improvement plan. Be it further resolved that a copy of the aggregate evaluation document will be added to the personnel file of Corporation Counsel. I'm not going to read the performance expectations unless there's a member of the board who desires for me to do it. Don't know that that's necessary, but the performance plan also includes what would be check-ins. It also includes that there'll be a review by a three-member panel consisting of the board chair, vice chair, chair of the governmental operations. There'll be a report created that board members will be able to have access to, summaries, and then by a vote of the board, we can vote to discontinue any reviews after a set period of time that are here by a vote of the body. So that's this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move it.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery. Is there any additional discussion? Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any problem with the resolution in and of itself. I think this position has been doing a good job with executing things. And I mean, during our evaluation process, we pointed out some areas for improvement. The improvement review structure, I think, is a bit excessive to do monthly professional improvement reviews. I just think once a month is excessive. I think that I also have a concern with item number 2, that there's a 3-member board panel doing it when there might be other members of the board that would like to have input on, corporate counsel. The corporate counsel serves all 9 commissioners, and so there may be some issues that are directly correlated with that particular commissioner. I also have a concern with the standards, because it says failure to fulfill this plan may result in next steps considerations. I don't think we should state that unless we know what those next steps are and what they should be outlined in black and white for the employee to be able to understand what those next steps are, as well as for the board to understand what those next steps are. So I can't support this in its current form.
All right, thank you. Commissioner
Chair.
Flewellen.
Do we have a progressive discipline policy in our standards now for all county employees?
isn't a written policy with our union employees that states we will follow progressive discipline.
But there's no policy laying out what that progressive
There's no
discipline is.
exact policy, but we follow the same steps each time. So we start with a counseling, which is a warning, goes to a written reprimand, and then there's a 1-day suspension, 3-day, 5-day, 10-day, 30-day, then termination.
Okay. I would make the recommendation that we adopt a progressive discipline policy for all. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna do that right here tonight. Thank you, Anita. But, you know, maybe with corporate counsel, I understand that you follow the same steps every time, but I think it'd be important to have a written policy for all employees to follow for progressive discipline. Everywhere I've worked has had one, even when it's a union shop.
Any additional discussion, Commissioner Kuzno?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this. This is just placed before us before we sat down. I've not had time to analyze this important document, and these are important positions, and I think we owe it to them to look at it thoroughly before we take action. I mean, I would at least like to, but I will state this before we go on, is that I am really disappointed that that we're even tabling these motions at this point in time, because it's not like we haven't worked on this. This has been going on for 2 years, and it's left them up in the air. It's been unfair to our employees. And I hate saying that I want to table it, but to do it right, I got to make that a motion.
Any additional discussion?
I'll support the postponement.
All right, it's been moved and supported to postpone it to the next governmental hour. All right, any additional discussion on the postponement? Any additional discussion? All right, I have some additional discussion for clarity. So, a couple things. Myself and our board chair, as well as the vice chair of government operations, and kind of worked on language to try to make sure that we followed up on the evaluations and the areas of whatever the performance concerns were in the case of this particular resolution, and lay out clear language that captured those concerns, and then determine what will be the process. So those are the expectations, because we owe it to our employees, not just to evaluate them, which is why we did this. And we haven't been doing this for the last 2 years. We haven't been in a 2-year process of evaluating. We just kind of launched it. When did we start this process, Mr. Chair?
Late last year.
Late last year?
The
And
evaluation piece.
the
I think
evaluation
Marty's
piece.
referring to.
I'm talking
the
about
pay.
setting the wages.
the wages. Okay, okay.
Different things.
Okay. So, so we've done the evaluation, which we owe it to our employees. There are employees that have said that they desire to know what we think and what we desire, how they can improve, and it's just a fair thing to do. And then, as areas of concern or areas of improvement or areas of agreed, shared thoughts emerge, to have a process of capturing that, which this performance expectation does. And then it goes on to then talk about what does that review process, where do we come back and give feedback to the person? Where do we come back and say, hey, things are going well, you're meeting the expectation, and so on and so forth. So that's the next part of that. And then I appreciate what Commissioner Brown said about having all 9 do it, but I also appreciate having a panel to do it. We can have a process where board members share their concern, but either way, it's whatever we agree to in that. And then when you get to the standards that was spoke to, about failure to fulfill this plan may result in next steps considerations by the Genesee County Board of Commissioners. To be honest, I had originally suggested that the language say, because this isn't the case that we evaluate an employee and we say these are areas of improvement, and there's no improvement made. No doubt that Brian, for whatever's raised for the sake of this, that he'll improve in those areas, right? But we want to be complete. If we have an employee who does not make the improvement, does not meet the expectation, then what does that mean for the board? And so originally I put, as you find corporately, you're subject to some level of discipline, including and up to termination. But I thought that would be gangster. I thought that would be too strong. And so backed the language out and really tried to make it as soft as it possibly can be and just bring it to the essence of what it represents. If we believe that any employee, that our appointments are not meeting our expectation, then what happens? The board takes the next steps. We consider whatever those next steps are. I don't know. It may be to terminate somebody. It may be to give them a written warning. It may be to sit them down and give them another counsel, but that's left ambiguous on purpose, so that it's not suggested that there's some pre-intended outcome of whatever that is. So, Dr. Brown, that's the reason why it's worded that way. We can go to something stronger, but to not have anything doesn't allow for teeth in the plan that we know what happens if it's good or we don't know what happens is it bad. So I just want to bring some clarity as to why it's detailed the way it is, why the language is the way it is. We went through great extent to make sure there was nothing in here that could be construed as Del Rico's got to axe to grind with Brian. Okay? So that's why it's there. Commissioner Wayhill.
So I'm in support of the motion to postpone, was listening closely to colleagues who are just receiving this tonight and want to make sure they have time to digest it. And I was listening closely to Commissioner Brown and also Commissioner Flewelling on particular points where they think they might want to offer some amendments going forward. And in this moment, and just seeing it now, I don't think it's fair to them to force a vote on it tonight, to even put it through to next week. So I will be supporting the motion to postpone.
And as you review it, board, if there's some suggestions or whatever, please email them to me, send them to me, and we'll, I'll be glad to, as we do, have one-on-one meeting with you, discuss it, and make some adjustments and stuff like that. I'm not in favor of watering down the resolution where the resolution just says everybody's amazing and it's a beautiful day, when we know that there are real concerns that have been raised by members of this board, and not just one or two, but others as well. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to postpone till the next governmental operations. Actually, yeah, we can do it for both of them, all right? Motion to postpone. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. All right, that brings us to the end of our governmental operations resolution, except we have this one, add-on number 3.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring some awareness.
1 second before you proceed. Add-on number 2, for the record, is the evaluation for the Director of Administration, Joshua Freeman. The resolution add-on number 3 will be this resolution, a resolution recognizing January as Human Trafficking Prevention Month and raising awareness of human trafficking. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you. As I've said before, we have a lot of these resolutions. Some are, how do I put it? Certain members feel they are divisive, and some of us do, and some of us don't. This one, I hope we can all get behind, because this is a real problem in our nation right now. I think we don't just need to bring awareness. I think it's something we need to look into, maybe addressing with some funding, so we can do more for this. I know we have people over at the Sheriff's Department working on stuff like this constantly, but I think they would honestly tell us that, guess what, you can never dump enough into this. It's just, and I just wanted to bring awareness to it. I thought it was something we could do as a board, all stand behind, united. So if I could have Mr. Freeman read it into the minutes, I would appreciate it when he's done. Please, if you would.
A resolution recognizing January as Human Trafficking Prevention Month and raising awareness of human trafficking. Whereas human trafficking is a serious crime and a violation of human rights that involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to exploit individuals for labor or commercial sex. And whereas human trafficking affects people of all ages, genders, and backgrounds, and can occur in both urban and rural communities, including within Genesee County. And whereas victims of human trafficking often go unidentified due to fear, trauma, language barriers, or lack of awareness within the community. And whereas January is nationally recognized as Human Trafficking Prevention Month, providing an opportunity to educate the public, promote prevention efforts, and support survivors. And whereas increased public awareness, education, and collaboration among local governments, law enforcement, service providers, and community organizations are critical to preventing human trafficking and assisting victims. And whereas the Genesee County Board of Commissioners is committed to promoting public safety, protecting vulnerable populations, and supporting efforts that prevent exploitation and abuse. Now therefore be it resolved that the Genesee County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes January as Human Trafficking Prevention Month in Genesee County, and be it further resolved that the board encourages residents, businesses, schools, faith-based organizations, and community partners to learn the signs of human trafficking and report suspected activity to the appropriate authorities. And be it further resolved that the board acknowledges and supports the work of law enforcement agencies, nonprofit organizations, service providers, and advocates who work to prevent human trafficking and assist survivors. And be it further resolved that this resolution be adopted to raise awareness, promote education, and reaffirm Genesee County's commitment to combating human trafficking in all its forms.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
You're welcome.
Any discussion? All right, actually, we didn't take a motion.
I'll move it.
All right, been moved, supported. Any discussion, Commissioner Flewelly?
Yep. One more time for the good of the cause here. So, to be clear, I don't really care what people choose to think. They're gonna think what they want. Not racist, not xenophobic, not homophobic, not misogynist. I don't believe these belong here. I'm a huge supporter of law enforcement. I've voted many times to fund the GHOST team, and I'll continue to do that. I think all human traffickers should be hunted down and face justice, whether that's in the courts or otherwise. But I'm not going to support these. Thank you.
All right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Okay.
All right, one nay, motion passes. Seeing nothing else before, Commissioner.
Mr. Chair, I believe we postponed the pay adjustments to your committee earlier. I'm not sure how you want to handle that.
Yes, I'm gonna, if it is okay with my colleague, Commissioner Cousineau, I'd like to yield to Commissioner Cousineau back to Finance Committee, if we can jump back there, so that he can take us through these if he desires to do it.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow
So,
what you're
because
saying.
these were in your Finance Committee, I thought it probably more appropriate to kick it back over to you for action.
Kick what over to me?
The approval of the salaries for increases for Corporation Counsel and Director of Administration. Remember, we tabled those going to the evaluation discussion.
Okay, are you throwing the evaluation under the finance too, or just the, are we separating them, or what are we doing?
No, we never,
You separated the evaluation from the
so I guess,
salary.
so I approach it a different way. Can we make a motion now to postpone these items to the next Finance Committee meeting? That's my
Support.
okay. I made the motion, it's been supported. Is there any discussion about postponing these?
I can't vote because I don't quite understand what you're doing.
First, he was asking you if you wanted to be the one to put the motion to postpone the pay items, and I think he just did it.
No, I don't want to.
Okay. All right,
So that's fine, somebody else did.
all right. It's been moved and supported. All right, any discussion? Back to finance.
What, can you restate the motion, what we're voting on?
Okay, so let me be clear. If you remember, recall, in the Finance Committee, we made a motion to table the pay increase resolutions for the Director of Administration and Corporation Counsel, because we had the resolutions coming in government ops for the evaluations. And so it was the plan at that time to deal with the evaluations and then come back to the finance resolutions, which are currently tabled right now.
So the evaluation piece is tabled.
Yeah,
So we're going back to these two approval of salary items
yes, because they're still on the table.
under
So
finance.
yeah, so we just need to take action if we're going to postpone them, or take action, whatever we're going to do. So we're pulling them off the table.
So my question is,
Yeah.
what is the motion right now?
My motion is to postpone it to the next finance because we postponed the evaluations. My individual sentiment is we take them together. If folks vote for the motion to postpone it, they agree with taking them together in 2 weeks at the next committee. Those that vote no, it may be their desire to deal with the finance piece now. That's the cleanest way that I can suggest and say it. So there's a motion on the table. The motion is to postpone these two items that's on the table to the next. It will go back to, it's your pleasure. My suggestion was send it back to finance because it's a finance item. Whatever is easier. I think we're clear about what we're trying to do here. I'm just trying to get it postponed, or you can take action on it now. It's not a lot. There's not really a lot to it. So there's a motion on the table to postpone it for 2 weeks. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, Commissioner Cousineau.
You know, I'm extremely confused with what you're doing, but just making something very simple complicated in my head. You know, simple country boy that I am. But, you know, we separated the finance, the salary from the evaluation already. And now you're putting it back together. I really don't want anything to do with the evaluation process. You know, I've let the other commissioners do that. I'm not saying that it wasn't important to do it. It's just, I didn't want to mix it into finance, that's all.
Okay, so your vote on this motion
I'll
would be
say
no.
yeah.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Commissioner Brown.
I would just say that it's not fair to the employees to delay their salary, us just making a decision on the salaries because we don't have the evaluation part. We haven't done our job in getting the evaluation, all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed with the evaluation. That burden is on us. But it's not fair to them to postpone the salaries that we hopefully are agreeing on. So I'm going to be voting no to postpone this
Okay.
part under these two motions under finance.
Any additional discussion? The disrespect and the shrewdness continues. We just completed 2 weeks ago the evaluation. And over the last 2 weeks, we worked on a document that follows up to the evaluation. To suggest that anybody hasn't dotted I's or crossed T's or not done their job is more of the same from the same two. Now it's before us. So we're going to keep jabbing or we're going to do the work. There's a motion on the table. If you don't agree they should be taken together, vote no. If you want to take them together, vote yes. Nobody's trying to, you know, screw with the staff. But there may be people on the board that believe that the evaluation, the outcome of that, and what we do with salary increases, we've had that discussion at the board, and there's been mixed sentiment on the board. I'm not deciding for everybody. It's just a vote for us to do it. It's not that difficult, and it's the same two that had the issues every time. Maybe somebody else should bring it in the next committee, and then maybe we'll be able to get it moved. Motion's on the table. Let's vote if there's no discussion.
Well, I guess my concern is, are we tying their salaries to the evaluation? And if not, I think it's not even relevant, you know, to postpone the salaries.
That's an excellent question. So say, for instance, you have, because we didn't read through all of the details here and we're going to do the work. Say, for instance, Del Rico is the employee. Del Rico's absolutely sensational. You see that in the evaluation and you decide, I was going to give him 1%, but because he's absolutely sensational, I may give him 2%. I'm just making up something. That's a rationalized, universal way in thought to tie the wage increase to the evaluation. That's one of the reasons why we did it. Or a person may say, I don't care if they're a great employee or not, I want to give them 30%. My suggestion is that it's tied together, and I think there are others feel the same, and we're almost to the end of that process. Commissioner Winfrey.
My next question is, did we do that for all employees and staff members who receive raises?
That's a great question as well. When we started the evaluation process, and I didn't bring the two, didn't bring the evaluation, the thought when we discussed it as a board at that time is that these two are the start of that process, and that we would go beyond that. So all of this is a start. I didn't bring it, but this is what the board kind of agreed to do to start that process. Commissioner Winfrey, and then I go to Shoemaker.
No, I'm good.
Okay, Shoemaker.
These are a little different, if everybody understands. These are our direct reports. They directly report to us. So salaries and their evaluation is most of the board I've talked to feels more up to us. So as far as tying it together, it's up to the board's pleasure whether they want to vote on this tonight. I'm prepared either way. I would like to tie them together because, as I stated during some of the review process, I don't think certain behavior should be rewarded with a pay increase. Or should I say a substantial pay increase, until you see improvement. Because it's, you know, it's really simple. It's like having someone you tell to correct a behavior, like even, let's say, a child, and they don't, and you reward them with new toys when you come home every day. They're getting something for nothing. Like I said, I am behind these evaluations. I've been pushing for these evaluations since I have been down here for our staff. But like I said, these are our direct reports. I'm very happy that we have started them. I've been frustrated for years with the fact that, guess what, it's not just an opportunity for us to help see what we're doing, our staff is doing, but it's also an opportunity for us to help our staff improve and be better. But, in the same note, you're trying to tie wages to behaviors that are not what the board wants. You know, I just think you're rewarding, you know, negative behavior over and over again. To me, whether you want to discuss it tonight, it's fine with me. I just don't think, I think they should be tied together, but that's only my opinion. I know everybody's worked very hard on this. I'm glad we started the process. I commend the government ops chair, former government ops chair, new chair of the board, to get this process started. But like I said, it's happening. But we are not, my opinion is, we are not responsible for reviewing, going down to the clerk's office and reviewing his staff. And we gave those people raises. These are our direct reports, and that's why the evaluation is so important to be tied to pay increases, or you can go as far as termination. Evaluation is tied to either one, because either you're doing your job or you're not doing your job, whether you deserve a raise or you don't deserve your raise. But poor behavior or poor results should not result in a raise, because I don't know anywhere else you could work and you're not following what you've been instructed to do, or you're not doing those jobs, and you're going to go expect a raise, especially, like I said, it's just not real world. But however everybody wants to move forward, I really do appreciate everybody's work on this. Like I said, I wish we'd have had the evaluations done also tonight, but we were very careful and mindful of the fact that we wanted to be respectful, not just to this board, but to the staff with what was in there. And I think we did that. I think we're still trying to do that. And I think any input the chair will take from there, and we'll move forward. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any additional discussion? Commissioner Wayhill, Mr. Chair.
So I was contacted by the chair of the Finance Committee last Thursday probably about this topic, and he's the chair of the committee, so he's able to bring things, and he was working. I encouraged him to work with the vice chair, Commissioner Getzinger, and I think they did a sincere, thoughtful job in bringing it to the Finance Committee. And so I'm prepared to vote on both of those tonight myself. I think there's a difference of opinion among commissioners to your question, Commissioner Winfrey. Are we tying our annual evaluation of our direct reports to compensation issues? Some people think we should, some people think we shouldn't. The people that think we should, and if they're not happy with, if we proceed with debate tonight, they can vote against the proposal that's brought by the chair and vice chair of the Finance Committee. I wanted to say that because I'm grateful that Marty approached me last week and asked about bringing it. And to me, the only way that we can make a decision is if we get it on an agenda and start talking about it, which is what we're doing. None of this was ever going to be easy, because evaluating people's performance and talking about it publicly, and when you're a 9-member board with differences of opinion, it's can be unpleasant but important work. And then, of course, we have to make sure that we're compensating people at the level that we think they should be compensated. So I will vote against the motion to postpone. this evening and would participate in discussion around the pay adjustment that's recommended by finance.
Any additional discussion? All right, so I want to go back where I started. That is why my suggestion was that the resolution be tabled, but in finance, so that when we took whatever action we took in governmental ops, whether it's postponed or not, then we would go back to finance, so finance could facilitate the discussion and see what folks wanted to do. That's the reason why I did it that way, to make it clean in that way. I'm on if there's no other discussion, I believe the motion is going to fail. I can count, but if let's vote. All in favor of postponing these items to the next finance meeting, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right. So I heard 8 voices, so that was 4-4. There was one person who didn't vote, so I'm going to go to roll call. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Winfrey,
No.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Avery,
No.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Yes.
Commissioner Kuznow,
No.
Commissioner Wayhill,
No.
Commissioner Flewelling. Yes. Commissioner Lloyd.
Yes.
Motion fails 4-5.
All right, motion fails. So with that said, I want to go back to where I started. I'd like to kick the discussion over to finance, so finance can facilitate the discussion.
Here, here.
That's where I started.
What does the chair want to do?
I'm open to debating the motions. I think that they're properly, the discussion and motions are properly brought under the finance committee, you as chair.
So you want to open the finance chair again tonight?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we close
resolution.
public work? I'm just doing procedure. Do
Mhm.
we close
So
public work?
adjourn,
Yes, adjourning government operations. Thank you.
Marty?
Okay. I call roll call. I open the government finance committee again at whatever time it is. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Present.
Commissioner Kuznow,
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Present.
Okay, a question to corporate counsel. Do I have to go through public comment again?
I guess my thought was that since you were, it was tabled and set aside, that you could pick it up, but I think since you've called the roll, probably be appropriate just to go through the regular procedure, since
Okay,
you've,
does anybody wish to address the finance committee at this point in time? 2 and 3. Nobody? Public comment is closed. We only have one item on the agenda at this point in time, and that is to do the salaries for corporation counsel. Gary and I, we met last week at some point in time, and as I
Mr. Chair,
said-
I'll move I'll move the motion to get it on the floor for discussion.
Okay, I was just,
Were you making it?
okay,
Okay.
fine.
Both of them or just one?
Well, I think we should debate these one at a time, so I'll move resolution 00. I defer to you.
I'm a little confused, but at any rate, I move that we raise corporation counsel's salary to leave it at the same, I'm sorry, a little confused, 140,000, and include the the county benefit package like we have to everybody else, and that we pay him $600 bonus like we did with everybody else that we did not raise their salaries this last year.
I'll support that.
Any discussion?
I have discussion.
Go ahead.
My discussion is, I think that we need to, because we've taken this approach with our varying department heads and leaders, staff of the Genesee County Board, where those that we believe that their salaries were in the neighborhood of what was appropriate, that they maintain a salary freeze at least that first year, and then they receive $600 beyond that. This is what's being proposed to us. I think in the chart that was before us for Corp Council, one of the suggestions was 3% every year, as was for the Director of Administration, 3% every year. And so if we're keeping the Corporation Council's salary the same at $600, I believe that we need to be consistent for everybody and not cause disparaging treatment here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not following what you said, I'm sorry.
You
But,
don't-
you know, I know that we only have about 1 year left on that 3-year cycle, because we're 2 years into it already. So we're already gonna be starting to talk about the following for the whole county. So there isn't gonna be any 2 and 3 and that type of thing going down through the years. It is just from here until we start the, and do the county finance or salaries once again, which that process will start at some point in time in the near future. When do the contracts come up? Next year, Mr. Freeman? So that's what I'm proposing, is just leave it at 140 and that's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that clarification. Again, I'm suggesting that we be consistent with those that are before us tonight. If we're doing that for the Corporation Council, that we be consistent with the other resolution that's coming as well. That's my only point.
Is there any other comments or questions? Seeing and hearing,
Chair.
I'm sorry.
Just
go
one
ahead.
quick thing. Question for the board. I don't expect an answer tonight, but as we move forward, we've began a process for evaluations for direct reports. There's been some discussion for evaluations for department heads, maybe kind of a ladder program where it starts with who they report to, moves to us. And so as we move forward, if we undertake that kind of program, I think it would only make sense to me to tie salary or raises to a program like that. And here's why I say that. If in a year and a half from now we have another wage study that comes out, and Oakland County, Kent County, Wayne County went nuts and they paid everybody big money. If we're evaluating department heads, as we have with a similar process perhaps to direct reports, if we have department heads that are lacking in some way, shape, or form, but yet that wage study says they should get 20%, but we follow the wage study for everybody else, should we just give that department head that needs to improve dramatically 20%? So I think, maybe irregardless of what we're talking about tonight, I think it's something we need to think about for the future, because if we're gonna do evaluations, if we don't, in my mind, if we don't tie them to a performance improvement plan, progressive discipline, or salary, then it's pointless. There's no incentive to improve. If you're not gonna get punished and you're not gonna get as big of a raise, there's no reason to improve. At that point, you're showing up, doing your job, getting paid, which a lot of people like to do, but when we start entering the world of evaluations for employees and we expand that program, if we don't tie it to some type of, I don't necessarily want to say punitive, but there's punitive and there's rewards. You earn both. But if we're just going to say, hey, we spent, Dale and others spent all this time putting together evaluations, and if we expand that program, but we're not going to tie it to anything else, in my mind, it's kind of a pointless process. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Yes, Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you for you and your vice chair for working on this stuff. I hate this portion of what we do. We work closely with these people, and it's tough to, divide sometimes personal feelings from what you've signed an oath to do. And or you swore an oath to do, which is to do its best for the residents of Genesee County. On top of it, it just puts everybody in an awkward situation for this. I'm 100% for tying it, anything to your evaluation, period. Since we're moving forward with this, we'll move forward with this tonight. I am not in favor, as everyone has known, of all the fringe benefit plans we put forward with everyone. I am 100% certain, I'd stated in several meetings, that I think we should discuss further, and next thing you know, they're being discussed in union contracts and approved. I would be for Brian's increase, other than I still am not behind this fringe benefit package, but that's the only reason I'm voting no for Brian's this evening from there. Other than on top of it, I'd like to see it tied to the performance evaluation. But thank you for working on it, Mr. Chair.
Is there anybody else that wishes to make a comment or have a question?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll just make one comment that since this is our first time doing this, in my experience, and I think it had been repeated more than once, that this evaluation serves as a baseline. And because it serves as a baseline, there is now communication about what needs to be done for improvement. And because it's a baseline, I think that the salaries are appropriate now, because we need to allow some sort of grace period for that knowledge to kind of sink in with the employees. Now that they'd never understood what direction we wanted from them until we actually sat them down and told them collectively that this is what you're doing great, and this is what needs to be improved. So because I'm looking at this from a grace period perspective, and I don't want us to appear to be, and I do believe in accountability, make no mistake about that. But I think we should use this year as a baseline and then move forward.
I
Mr. Winfield?
amen to what Dr. Beverly Brown said.
Anybody else? I agree with, this was a baseline, and I don't know how you can attach wage increases to a baseline. And other than that, I call for a vote.
I had additional discussion, one follow-up discussion, Mr. Chair. I agree with the performance being a baseline, because as a board, not just for the two that's before us, but for our department heads at large, as a board, we haven't provided our expectations. And so it's hard to hold somebody to expectations you didn't articulate, you didn't share, and it's really unfair to our board members. So I totally agree as it relates to performance. There should be a, this is a baseline. And so now, in this case, Brian, he knows, what we're looking for and that kind of thing. And he's open, as he was when we met, to, meet those expectations, and believes he has the capacity to do it. So I'm good with the baseline when it comes to performance. I don't agree that we should be establishing a baseline for a person's conduct, a person's character, the way that they conduct themselves, the way that they communicate. I think that baseline should be established when we come to the table as professionals. And I believe that where we find challenge with conduct, my sentiment professionally, from my experience running, and I won't call the role of, what experience, that's not necessary tonight. But what I'm saying is, where there are conduct issues, conduct concerns, and things that go out of the realm, that are in the realm of things that we should know as professionals are inappropriate, I don't agree that we should be establishing a baseline for that. I believe that we have a responsibility on behalf of the residents we represent to properly address those things and to set expectation and tie teeth to that expectation so that if poor conduct continues, that there are consequences for that. Otherwise, we're leaning into our relationships and our perspectives of who we think is great and who's not, and not doing the responsible work of making sure that from this board, from our administrative office, all the way down to whoever the lowest paid employee is, to make sure that everybody's representing the conduct that's becoming of individuals that's receiving taxpayer dollars. So I agree, baseline as it relates to performance. Hey, we want you to do this, improve on this. Maybe you can start doing this. Baseline, yes. But I don't believe that we should be, at this point when we have employees making over $100,000 a year, that we should be managing behavior, tone, things that are said, how people are doing other things that I have no problem bringing up at the appropriate time in this meeting tonight. So baseline for performance, yes, but conduct, to establish a baseline, I believe is to be irresponsible in addressing behavior that we all know is unacceptable.
Is there anybody else?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So to clarify, I will agree with Dr. Brown. You can't hold people to expectations they were unaware of. I supported the postponement of these two pieces based on the fact that that would give everyone additional time to have conversation, have discussion, and reflect on what's being asked for here. My one question for you is, remind me, when would either one of these changes take place? Upon adoption or
On
retroactive?
adoption.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
I'm sorry, there's
We're
been so much.
voting to paying $140,000
Okay.
and the $600
Thank you.
bonus
Yes,
and the benefit package.
yes.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker, Commissioner Kuzno,
Yes.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelling,
No.
Commissioner Lloyd,
I want to be clear, we're keeping his salary the same and doing the 600. That's what this is. Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-2.
Okay, we move on to the second motion, which is setting the salary for, I'm sorry.
Just for clarification, so we can process the resolution appropriately, for Corporation Counsel, that put the deputies' wages on hold as well, because they were a percentage of the director. So that's one point that's still pending. The second point, you may or may not be aware or recall, but there was a 1% that was applied to the non-unions' rates of pay, the first full pay following January, and that just went into effect. So if you want that included, we would need that. And then I believe there's a 1% next January as well that you approved for the non-union. I just want to clarify if you want those percentages.
I think what we
Applied.
said is 140 until we deal with it again.
Okay. The other non-union positions will receive the 1% this year and next year. That's why I wanted to bring it to your attention.
Only talking about one position.
Okay,
None of all these other ones.
okay,
We're talking about this one,
okay, perfect.
140,
Okay.
period.
And then the deputy, do you want us to adjust the deputy corporation counsel based on?
I'm not
Corporation
prepared to
councils.
talk about that tonight.
Okay. Okay, we can talk about that
We
more.
can talk about it moving forward.
Sure, okay, thank you.
Okay, I make the motion to increase the salary for the board coordinator to, what was it we agreed on, 130, what was it, Gary?
155.
Okay, 155, that's approximately a 15, 16% increase from where he's at now, I'm not really sure. We didn't have the figures where he's at for 2025. We only had 2024, so it's increase of that amount from 2024.
Support.
And well, we have to add the package of benefits too. Is there any discussion? Mr. Shoemaker?
Well, to start with, I thought you were asking what 2025 was, so I'm just going to answer that. I believe Mr. Freeman said it was the same.
2025, yes.
It's 2024.
Yes.
Mike, please.
So, which would put you at $133,529.34 before all the fun began. Total compensation, which right now of $181,675.81.
If you include the benefit package, yes.
The benefits and the vehicle, which the vehicle I understand that there's a $2,694 that is the deduction portion he's taking, but we both know that a Chevy Tahoe depreciates more than $2,000 a year. Sorry, I've been in the car business a long time. It does. It's costing us more than that. If you go with what you're asking for, which is the 14% increase, you are increasing total compensation with the vehicle to $203,300. Some odd change. Your average household income in Genesee County per the last census is $63,000. Wow. To me, it's just unbelievable. I just, like I said, it's very difficult to fathom that when you see how hard small business owners are working just to get to 100 grand. And it's not that I want to go down this place where certain people are not worth anything or anything else like that, but this position is, the pressure's different than a lot of people. Guess what? We're the ones that take the backlash when there's a bad decision and so on and so forth. To move forward with this, I don't know where we came up with this number and why it's a viable number and it's something you'd approve. We just said, okay, there it is. Threw it up against the wall. We're going to say, this is a great number. That's not a great way to govern. If it is, that's how we came up with this number. As far as the numbers you were shown before, here, the department heads, if I remember correctly, were put together by our department heads. Not a survey, not a company. That's a very dangerous proposition to let your staff decide what their own wages are. On top of it, there were concerns brought up during evaluations. I was very ginger with certain things. I think a lot of the members of the board were. I, as the rest of the county, am an employee who, guess what, have to perform. I can't have a bad evaluation and expect to get more money. If half my job is good and the other half is poor, which I've heard many of you mention, that, well, this portion's really good. That's wonderful. But you're talking about $22,000 plus all the other stuff. That's insane. Number one, I'm not opposed to giving people raises, but when standards are met, performance is met. Like I said, I was and am for the evaluation being tied to it. I am for this board after 6 months evaluating this and then taking it and saying, okay, we're gonna add a cost of living, or we're gonna do something like that. But have you been out in our county? Drive down here, drive down Ballinger Highway. Drive down here. There's burnout houses, there's everything else like that. Most people aren't living at $155,000 of income a year and $200,000 of all in. I promised my residents I'd handle it like it's my money. That's not responsible. That amount. I'm not saying a cost of living increase is not due eventually, but I'm sorry, there was a lot of concerning issues brought up during evaluations that need to be addressed before I would even be on board with those. I am, as this is brought forward, definitely not in favor. I think it's very irresponsible for a $22,000 raise, and I don't know where we would come up with a number to say how you would justify that when this was given to us by our own staff. So I appreciate you letting me speak, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
I just want to clarify that we did not go by all those numbers that Mr. Shoemaker was throwing up there. That's not how we came about it. Does anybody else have any other comments?
I do.
Go ahead, please.
So, when we started the wage study, Mr. Freeman suggested that his wage should go from, and it was presented to us, from $133,529,000 to, I think it was $183,000 a year. Then he came back and suggested, and these are public documents, that his wage should be $168,000. And then one of the lower proposals that he presented to us was that his salary follow a 3% increase each year, which I thought was more reasonable, even though I had concerns because I believe the wage that he receives is sufficient for the role that he's in. As a matter of fact, at $133,000, 529, I'll come back to that point, but he suggested that on the lower end, and that's not what he wanted. He wanted $168,000, that he will receive 3% each year. That's consistent with what was proposed for everybody else. He didn't do anything that I think was wrong in that. And that first 3% was $137,000. The second year, another 3% was $141,000. And the third year, that took him to $145,000. So that's 3 years at 3% increases each year. Yet the proposal on the table today is 14% or better, taking them to $155,000. It's really a slap in the face to the Corporation Council because we just voted nearly unanimously to keep his salary the same and give him a $600 bonus. It's the same thing we did for other department heads that are here, and none of them that receive $600, reading from a public document that's foiable, none of them have evaluations that say the Director of Administration has demonstrated ongoing conduct inconsistent with the expectations of his role, including improperly discussing personnel matters with non-HR staff, creating internal dynamics which create a threatening working environment, pitting commissioners against each other through divisive communications, using inappropriate and unprofessional language with staff and department heads, making repeated inappropriate comments about co-elected officials, using profane, disparaging remarks in front of commissioners and department heads, failing to properly inform the board, causing political disruptions in several districts, refusing board appropriate requests without bringing them to the board, whipping votes and politicking commissioners, working against those with differing views, misrepresenting his personal opinions as board positions to community stakeholders, withholding important information from certain commissioners while favoring others. These behaviors must cease in order for the Director of Administration to gain the total confidence of the full Board of Commissioners body. The Director of Administration is a nice guy who loves the county and desires to do a good job as he works extremely hard. The challenge is that his conduct at times overshadows his positive efforts. Respect and appropriateness in this role of the Director of Administration is a must. And of course, there are other evaluations that says he's amazing and his performance is great, which I agree. He does a great job from a performance standpoint. But when we have another commissioner that says, and I know my time is almost up because I'm not going to go past the 5 minutes, that Josh has selectively engaged with certain commissioners or allowed personal priorities to override the guidance of the board. Some studies, initiatives he's undertaken have appeared self-serving rather than focusing on county priorities, and his relationships with department heads and appointed officials have at times undermined his ability to carry out board directives and responsibilities, and so on and so forth. And we're going to give him a 14% wage increase while we keep Brian at $140 and give him $600, while we give other department heads a measly increase, and we call that professional. And then we sit here as a board because there's some of us, he do whatever we ask him to do, and that's sufficient. But then we ignore the fact that we all know that he's pitted commissioners against each other. We all know that he whips votes. We all know that
Please don't speak for me when you say you all.
Yes, sir. When the majority of this board know that he whips votes, he disrespects commissioners, he creates issues, he spreads rumors about commissioners, okay? We know all that happens, and then we're going to give him a 20% wage increase. And I know our relationship will probably never be the same, but this ain't about relationship, it's about responsibilities. We have to be responsible as a board, not just to celebrate what we call stellar performance, but to call out and properly address terrible conduct. And the evaluation from multiple commissioners is foilable for anybody that want to see it. Displays that there are more than just me and Sean Shoemaker that have issues with the way that he conducts himself. That's why I wanted the wage tied to the evaluation. Josh Freeman, the Director of Administration who works for all of us, have to understand that that behavior, what if all of our department heads conducted them this way? There are department heads when I was chair who came to me and told me. Some of them are sitting in this audience, scared to raise concerns out of fear of what he'll do. Scared to come to commissioners to raise certain concerns. Y'all want to have a discussion? Let's have a discussion. That's the reality. Stellar performance and terrible conduct as the leader of Genesee County. And he's not a county exec. He's not the mayor. The mayor of Flint just got an increase, a second increase over 2 years. The mayor of Flint, his salary is $148,000, and we're going to give him $155,000. He makes more than every state representative, every city council person. He makes more money than every state senator, and we're going to give him a 14% raise when we just gave Brian $600. I think it's terrible. I think it's wrong, and I think we're sending the wrong message to our Director of Administration to keep rewarding and standing up for his bad behavior. That's where I am.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'll simply state what I said to you privately. I'm willing to support an increase for Mr. Freeman, but not at the level that is being recommended.
We'll offer any,
I'll make a substitute that we offer, or that we approve a cost of living increase of 2.5% for Mr. Freeman. And that that's my motion.
starting from when and going to when.
Well, I'm thinking about this on the spot.
We're trying to deal with 3-year stuff here.
Well, can we get a support before we have debate?
I'll support it for debate.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
it's,
motion.
motion's on the floor. I'm gonna need help from people on how this would work. So 2.5%, if it were approved by a majority, that would be based on his base wage, I think, increase him by that amount. And I guess that's
3 years, or for just once?
starting now. And then I'm not suggesting cost of living each year, just for right now.
Just a one-time thing?
For this moment, yeah. I'm one that will, so we had an evaluation process for these 2 direct reports, not to beat a dead horse about that. There are several commissioners who very pleased with performance, several that are quite displeased, others that in my view are sort of in the middle, and certain issues they're very happy, other issues they want to see improvement. I would consider myself as an individual commissioner increasing the director of administration more going later on if we adopt this professional improvement plan at some point where we see improvement. But tonight I'm offering what I would call a cost of living increase of 2.5%.
Is there any support for Commissioner Wayhill's?
Already supported it
Oh,
for
I'm sorry, I
discussion.
didn't hear you. Any discussion at that point for a one-time 2.5%?
So what would that put, what's the number?
$3,338.23.
On top of the 134?
So it'd be 136,867.23, 25 cents, somewhere in there.
Wasn't there already a motion on the floor?
Well, he did an amendment to that motion.
So mine was essentially a substitute based on my own personal view that I couldn't support the full, was it 22,000?
155.
Right, but I can support a cost of living. And then in the future, this one commissioner, based on, I mean, I've been on a professional improvement plan in my workplace, so, you know, and I got a bonus at the end of the year because I met certain, I think we should be applying that to the director of administration.
So my question is, if we adopt that salary, how does that compare with other county administrators? Is it on par with other counties our size and other budgets our size?
I don't know what all of them are, but I know he could go get a job real easy somewhere else for a lot more. Is there anybody else? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. What, it frustrates me when, and if Josh can make more, I pray he does. I think, like I said, it's very tough to do this because I've grown to know Josh over the last 7 years. And I enjoy my conversations with Josh immensely. But just because you like somebody doesn't mean you go and pay what you don't feel the job is worth. Once again, we have all these people who answer to the residents, who are put on a real performance system, because guess what? If they don't do it, they don't get elected. They don't make that kind of money. And that kind of money, this kind of money here is, and maybe you guys are all far better off than I am, and far better off than most of your residents. That's insane. It's great money. I've teased before, I'll quit this job right now. You promise not to fire me for 10 years, I'll do it right now for that. I won't ask for any increase, because it's a lot of money. I'm not for anything that's not, once again, you are rewarding behavior that we've frowned upon. I have yet to bring forward this behavior, as some of it affects some of these board members, because I don't want to embarrass certain people. But I think certain commissioners are compromised. And what I mean is, Mr. Freeman knows things, that guess what? You better vote for this, because guess what? You better vote for him a damn raise, because guess what? Because if the rumor he spread was true, he knows something pretty dirty about you. These are things that happen. I'm trying not to bring them out because guess what? We've got a goal, and that's to make Genesee County the best place to be. But our residents deserve us to look at finances better. I don't know many of these people who are sitting here working around where you stop at the local restaurant or you grab a bite to eat or you're out shopping, that they could have this behavior with other staff and their bosses and still even have a job, let alone you giving them a raise. I don't mind doing it if improvement is made. There should be something to strive for. And do I believe it can happen? Yes, I do. But I can't get behind giving anybody anything, especially when you gave Brian $600. There's no, hey, Brian, you do a good job. Guess what? We're going to give you an increase. You didn't say that to Brian. You know what we told Brian? $600. So why are we any different this? Why are we any different with Mr. Freeman than we were Brian? We said we're not going off of these numbers. This is not where we came up with it. So why is Brian different? And why are we handling this different? Because you all are too close. And like I said, I'm very frustrated with it. I've held back a lot of stuff out of respect for you guys, but guess what? This is not acceptable to give raises until behavior and conduct improves. I don't know anywhere else that happens other than government. I think that's what people are tired of. Because I am, and that's what got me involved in politics. And now you all have to deal with it. See what happens? Sorry, I was trying to make levity of it, but the fact is this. I just can't support this. There's so many issues that when we sat there in closed session, I didn't go in because I didn't want to bore you all day. Because you guys, most of you made up your mind because there's no open mind to things. I've sat here, you say, oh, how can he be held to a standard when he doesn't know? We've said things. I've been down here for 7 years. Just because these boards didn't decide to have evaluation before doesn't mean you aren't getting feedback from people. It's very, very frustrating. You sit there, didn't know. No, that's unacceptable, and you want to reward it. And you want to tell our residents who are busting their butt, it's okay. When the average household income per the last census in our $63,000. That's what they're living on. And most of them are doing things right. So, like I said, I'm very frustrated with this. I'm very frustrated. I think that some commissioners, guess what, we need to reevaluate how they're going to look at this, because why are you pushing for this? Is it because he does everything you ask? It's not acceptable. And I hate this. I hate that we're here. I hate that this got brought up this way. But thank you, Mr. Chair. Like I said, I'm a no.
Mr. Chair, I've been sitting here thinking about the proposal that's on the table, trying to fathom it. And my mind keeps going back to two things. Number one, a recent lie that was told on me in front of this entire board. I won't go farther than that, but you remember when it happened 2 weeks ago by Mr. Freeman. Number two, my mind goes back to after that meeting in this room when I mentioned what had happened to Mr. Freeman and said, how could you do that? And his response was, I guess I am who I am. I guess I am who I am. As one of the 9 people that he reports to. There's love, there's relationship, there's time, but there's also what is appropriate. And there's also with employees, because I didn't get elected to be friends, I got elected to do a job, and then also to be respectful of our employees and colleagues and get the job done, but also to make sure that there's accountability of our team as our residents hold us accountable as well. There has to be something for him to strive toward. And there has to be teeth and consequence. If the behavior is not going to continue, but that it changes. The statement was made, he can go anywhere and make more money. Yeah, we all probably can. But walk in the door and tell them you're going to divide commissioners and whip votes and lie and be disrespectful and not follow instructions and do your own thing and be inappropriate in front of people that you go to lunch with and people that you're responsible for managing. Good luck. So, I mean, I'm partial to the compromise of doing something, you know, because I can count. But if we're going to do that, then I'm going to make a motion to reconsider Brian's before we conclude and reopen his and give him the same thing that you're looking, that you're proposing to give the Director of Administration. Because Brian, all of these, we spent probably an hour talking about this. Brian didn't have anything remotely close on his evaluation. All we said to Brian is, we want you to get us more information in a more timely manner and go through stuff and be more thorough, et cetera, et cetera. His meeting was less than half of the time because there's no conduct issues there. Nobody's brought me a write-up or sent me an email about any of the department heads about their conduct being anywhere close. I've heard from Mr. Freeman about people that are sitting out in this audience that fear for their job. So I'm saying that's why I started the discussion earlier on. Let's be consistent, because I knew what was coming because it's on the agenda. Let's treat Brian the same way. Let's give him the same thing. If Josh can get 2.5 increase and have terrible conduct, terrible unbecoming conduct, and we all know it, except you, Mr. Cousineau, with respect to what you just said, and maybe another. If he can get an increase with terrible professionalism skills, terrible conduct, then certainly we can give Brian a raise who's respectful to everybody, who comes in with a smile on his face, who stays out of the politics, that focuses on the role that he's in. Certainly we can give him an increase. So do we have one motion on the floor?
You should ask the chair.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, the motion is what the chair of the whole board made, which was a 2.5% increase now.
Okay. So I supported that. I'm more inclined
You
to
did, yes.
$600 and no increase until things change, but I can count.
What
Mr.,
what if we went to $600 and tie it to maybe a 6-month performance that where we would see if we see improvements and then look at another potential raise there.
Can I make a substitute motion, or can we not make more motions? Are there two motions on the floor?
Hey, corporate counsel.
Would it be easier if I withdrew my motion? I can't remember who supported it.
I supported
You
it.
did, for discussion
So it's
purposes.
the main motion.
I'm happy to withdraw that if Commissioner Getzinger and Commissioner Lloyd are trying to find another way forward.
Well, I think you have to drop it, and then the seconder, which I think was.
Yeah, I
him,
agree.
You have to drop it.
Yeah,
And then go ahead and do a new motion.
if you don't mind, I'll make the motion. The motion would be to give a $600 bonus today to the Director of Administration, and upon 6 months, well, we haven't adopted the evaluation yet, so we can't do that. So what I'll do is I'll make a motion that the increase is $600, and then when we come back to the evaluation, I don't have a problem making another motion to tie 2.5% to 6 months completion of successful completion of not just having great performance, but having appropriate conduct.
Does anybody want to support that?
Support.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Nay.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Yes.
Commissioner Cousineau,
No.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey,
No.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-3.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to talk to the commission now that, or this committee now that it is open? I just want to make one comment, that I am a little disappointed in the fact that two commissioners was lecturing the rest of the board. And I don't have a problem with you expressing your opinions. That is great. But lecturing and keeping in saying, you guys, you guys, you guys, I take exception to that. I am now adjourned.
Okay, we're gonna call the Human Services Committee a meeting to order at 8:30 PM. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuznow,
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Chair entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Are there any public comments to this committee? Any public comments to this committee? Any public comments to this committee? Hearing none, we'll move on. No communications, no old business, new business. Resolution 2025-2780, approval of the 2026 Genesee County Veterans Organization Relief Program.
So move.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in,
Mr. Chair. I'll just quickly say I'm glad to see that this program is working. Looks like we had 2 organizations that put in but didn't meet the deadline last year, so that's what we're approving today. This comes out of a meeting that Commissioner Cousineau and I actually had with former Commissioner Ted Henry a couple years ago to try to use the fund balance in the Veterans Millage to help some of these organizations that are really the lifeblood of the veterans community. So happy to see it on here.
anything else? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2800, approval of a request to accept and expend Great Start Readiness Program carryover funds in an amount not to exceed $115,109 for the 2025-2026 program year. Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2806, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Preferred Removal Service to provide for 2 opioids and emerging drug death analysis positions. The cost of this agreement is fully grant funded.
So move.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, could we have a little more of an explanation on what these
Yes, sir.
positions are?
Good evening. This grant has been before the committee probably in 5 or 6 different variations throughout the years. These are 2 work-at-home people that provide about 30 hours a week service for us. They review toxicology reports and kind of get them in front of the doctor a little faster so they can get the drug death data to the community stakeholders in a more timely fashion. So they're the front line in dissemination of data.
If
Go
I,
ahead.
do they have access to the county system then while they're at home?
Yep, so we teamed up with Hurley. We use their health information system, and they are able to log into it remotely, pull the data from there. Really, the stuff that we do is not held on the county server. It's all done through VPNs and through Hurley.
That's what, just wanted to make sure we had a secure VPN. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's what I was asking for. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2807, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Compassus MIHP to provide for case management and care coordination to participants of Genesee County's Healthy Start program.
Move it.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2822, approval to amend Resolution 2025-2271 by adding an additional $5,000 to provide for drug and pharmaceutical purchases with various vendors. The cost of this amendment will be paid from the accounts list.
Move it.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2828, approval of a health-related academic program affiliation agreement between Genesee County Health Department and Grand Valley State University to provide experiential learning opportunities for university students.
So moved.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Can we just have a little more of an explanation on this? We might have moved this before, but I don't remember this. If someone could explain it, what it actually is.
So we have many of the universities, we're trying to work with many of the Michigan universities right now because that's probably all we can handle to have like internship opportunities. So the experiential services is just like observation and hands-on experience.
So basically, they're interns is what.
They're interns. It's got, yeah.
I appreciate you simplifying it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2864, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency in an amount not to exceed $12,359,679 to provide staffing and operation of Genesee County's Head Start program. The cost of this agreement is fully grant funded and will be paid from the accounts listed. Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2025-2867, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and the Genesee Intermediate School District in an amount not to exceed $687,300 to provide for our Great Start Readiness Program. The cost of this agreement is fully grant funded.
So moved.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2026-0022, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Genesee Health Plan in an amount not to exceed $7,700,000 to provide for a health care delivery system for low-income Genesee County residents. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the Genesee County Health Millage.
So moved.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Commissioner Flewelly.
Just one question, Mr. Chair, maybe for Crystal. Do we know if this millage has a fund balance currently? How much? Over 10 million. Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. There's no other business before this committee. We stand adjourned.
We need to look at it. All right, I will call the Public Works Committee to order at 8:39, sorry. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Avery, Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuznow, Commissioner Wayhill,
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Present. All right. Approval of minutes, resolution 2026-0038, approval of minutes, December 3rd, 2025 meeting.
So move.
Got a motion?
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any public comment to the committee? Any public comment to the committee? Any public comment to the committee? Seeing none, public comment is closed. No communications, no old business, new business. Resolution 2025-2791, approval of purchase order to SHI International for the fiscal year ending 2026 in an amount not to exceed $75,000 to provide for the purchase of software systems and technology-related items in various departments.
Move it.
Support.
Motion and support. Mr. Shoemaker.
Mike, can you come up here, please? Thank you. You know, if I may, Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
you know, we see a lot of these for software and systems and everything else like that, and obviously, I know there's different software for different things, and just to myself and residents at times, it seems like there's a lot of software licenses being purchased and so forth. So can you kind of explain this, what this software is going to do for us compared to other software we bought in the past?
This one and the next one are technical requests. It's not actually to purchase anything, it's to raise the ceiling before we have to come back to you. At this state today, and I'm hoping Derek can correct me if I'm wrong in purchasing. If we need to buy a $500 printer from them, we have to come back to you to request it based on today's policy. Because of the ceiling is $30,000 per year. And we're asking to raise that ceiling to $75,000. So that smaller, and this is an accumulation of much smaller things, $500, $1,000, those kind of things, printers, hard drives, you name it, stuff like that. That's what this is about.
And the second one, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And the second one is just the same dollar amount, just to a different vendor, is what you're saying?
Yes.
This is obviously in your budget.
Most of these purchases actually come from departmental budgets.
Yep, that's
Not necessarily
our
ours.
budgets, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes.
So, thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2025-2815, approval of purchase order to Sentinel for the fiscal year ending 2026 in an amount not to exceed $75,000 to provide for additional door access and camera locations in various Genesee County buildings.
So move.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2025-2821, approval of request by the Genesee County IT Department to overhaul and modernize the Emergency Operations Command, EOC, in an amount not to exceed $51,500. The cost of this overhaul would be paid from the accounts listed.
Move it.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2025-2870, approval of an easement to Lapeer County Road Commission adjacent to an abandoned right-of-way in Lapeer County.
So move. Support.
Motion support. Any discussion? I do have one piece. Is there anybody here that can talk about this?
Yep, Kevin from the Drain Office.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Sylvester, Deputy Drain Commissioner, Genesee County.
Hey, Kevin. So this is probably just procedural, whatever, but looking at the map, it looks like this particular property is already in Lapeer County?
It is in Lapeer County, so we are doing this on behalf of the Genesee County Parks Commission, and as a courtesy to the Lapeer County Drain Commissioners, Drain Commission, we have worked with them on utility for the KWA and the water line that is in that area, and have made upgrades along that route, so we're familiar with it. And this is essentially just completing, there was an abandonment of a right-of-way about 20, 25 years ago. They need the easement in order to utilize some of their operations with maintaining the roads. And it doesn't appear like the easement was done correctly back in, I believe, 1999. So it's just kind of closing the loop on that.
Okay, just clean it up. Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. No other the one other item of business I do have, a couple of us had discussion earlier. We met this afternoon with Josh and Ray and Derek, and the next Public Works Committee meeting, Ray's gonna come up and give kind of an overview of all the projects coming up this year, capital improvement, Public Works, everything else. So I can tell you, because I took notes, I think it's better coming from him. Okay? Oh, I do have one add-on. Add-on number 1.
Would you like me to explain it?
Yes, please.
So a couple of years ago, the Board of Commissioners approved the lease of up to 5 vehicles from Susky that would be used by the Sheriff's Department because we're limited on the types of vehicles we can purchase. So every sheriff's detective drives the same type of vehicle, and they were getting burned on those things. So in an effort to stop that burning, we lease a vehicle for 10,000 miles or a number of months, and then that way it kind of turns over the fleet. I think we pay about $450 a month for those vehicles. The Sheriff's Office is asking for an additional 3, it would bring it up to 8. But they have to come to the board to get that approved because it would be over the threshold that I have the authority to approve.
Okay. I will also read the resolution. Thank you. To the Honorable Chairperson, members of Genesee County Board of Commissioners, Genesee County, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Genesee County, Michigan, that the request by the Office of the Genesee County Sheriff to authorize entering into lease agreements between Genesee County and Susky Chevrolet Buick Incorporated for the purpose of leasing 3 additional vehicles for a total of 8 vehicles to be used by the Office of Genesee County Sheriff. The cost of said vehicles not to exceed $450 per month per vehicle, each lease to be a period of either 6 months or 10,000 miles is approved. A copy of the memorandum request and supporting documents being on file with the board with the official records of the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Public Works Committee of the board. Chairperson of this board is authorized to execute the lease agreements on behalf of the county, and the chief financial officer is directed to record the attached budget amendment. Do we have a motion?
Move it.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker?
One, is this, they have enough space in their budget for this? One. Do you have enough room in the budget for this? Are we moving stuff around, or is this an additional out of the general fund?
No, we already have budget, they're paying for vehicles now anyway, and it won't be just from one spot, we'll put it in different, areas, like Ghost might get one of the other detectives, Gain might use one of those.
Okay.
Go ahead,
If I may. We have a policy that county vehicles, and these are considered county vehicles, will have a tracking device on these vehicles. We need to revisit that policy then if we're going to be taking these vehicles on. I mean, if they are General Motors vehicles, I'm assuming they're coming from Susky, they're General Motors vehicle.
Yeah.
Either we need to pay the 6 months for the tracking device, or we need to change that policy. Either way, whatever the board's discretion is, but those are things that need to be done. Lastly, I will have to abstain from this. My company and Susky, they're not my customer, but they have a relationship, and I will be abstaining, so.
Yeah. Any further discussion? I guess to follow up on that one question I do have, will the OnStar be active in these vehicles, do you know?
I don't believe the OnStar is active in the Susky vehicles.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Abstain.
8 yes, 1 abstention. And with that, we are adjourned at 8:49.